and get beyond them. Love that from wide players.
I do love that from wide players because we don't see that enough from wide players. However, it is just his 8th Premier League goal in 4 years. Isn't that wild?
Is that
for someone like Jeremy Doku?
Yeah, really.
7 before yesterday.
Well, again, it's that's a really interesting stat. That is. But and again, for someone of his ability, he should be getting a lot more than that. But he's just such a.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range, supporting van owners to get the job done. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Good afternoon, I'm Max Scott here with your sports headlines. Michael Carrick's told us if Lisandro Martinez's man-bun manoeuvre is a red card, then the game's gone. But Simon Jordan thinks the United boss is just deflecting.
Because the referee missed it at high speed, that VAR intervened because it saw something that the referee missed.
Yeah.
And Michael Carrick may not like it, but your team were already getting their backside spanked at the time anyway.
VAR called Paul Tierney to the screen after catching Martinez pulling on Dominic Calvert-Lewin's hair. Regardless, though, former Leeds midfielder Gary McAllister reckons a performance like that puts Leeds safe from relegation.
I thought from minute one, Leeds were fantastic. And in fact, getting in at 2-0 up at half-time, they should have been 3 or 4 up. I thought they were really good to-a-man. I thought Manchester United couldn't cope with the intensity of the closing down.
Daniel Farke's side are now 6 clear of Spurs in the bottom 3 after that 2-0 win at 2-1 win at Old Trafford. Now Rico Verhoeven, the kickboxer taking on Alexander Usyk, has told Simon Jordan he'll prove him wrong and knock the head off the heavyweight champion.
History will be made, and after that, I will be back, staring Simon down in the face. I told you so. And then he's going to tell me in my face, Rico, you were right. I'm sorry.
He fights Usyk at the Pyramids of Giza on May the 23rd. And England captain Ben Stokes has played down suggestions of a breakdown in his relationship with head coach Brendan McCullum, but admits their partnership will look a little bit different. 2 series against New Zealand and Pakistan await this summer.
talkSPORT News.
A killer nicknamed Nasty will serve at least 16 and a half years behind bars for the murder of a deaf woman in East London. And a former NATO chief warns the UK's underprepared for war. Sinead's got more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With over 600 centres across the UK, most of which open 7 days a week, we're always there when you need us. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
Sunny across northern and eastern areas across the southwest. Cloud and rain moving slowly northeast, feeling warmer.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it! Oh!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How do you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT. Well, this afternoon I had to go and see my GP this morning. I was quite surprised to see that he wasn't in red and white robes, holding an orb and attempting to touch me on the forehead. He had like a pair of jeans and a T-shirt on.
Coming up over the next 3 hours, former Leeds striker Ross McCormack gives us his take on the relegation dogfight. Former Georgia coach David Webb Jr., could call him that, shouldn't I, really?
Well, you can do, yeah.
On the rise of Kvaratskhelia, and you put that in there deliberately.
But that's his name. It's not like he's never been mentioned before. I do struggle with those Georgian names.
And former undisputed world champion Josh Taylor on adjusting to life after boxing.
We'll also preview another big night in the Championship. Look at Barca's chances of overturning that 2-0 deficit of Atletico tonight. And Dundee United fan and screenwriter Neil Forsyth pops in to chat about his new Netflix series, Legends.
There's all this plus Wisden editor Lawrence Booth is here as the new edition of Cricket's Bible is released. And we'll chat to the Leicester fan whose newfound sobriety has funded a dream trip to the World Cup.
Yeah, it's a lovely story, actually.
Yeah, nice.
It is 5 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Annie. May I start with an apology? I may have given you the impression yesterday, Leeds fans, as I left, that it was a straight fight between Leeds and Spurs.
I've written it down. Us and Leeds.
For the remaining relegation place. I now realise that nothing could be further from the truth. And Leeds are a brave front foot outfit that went to Old Trafford and put in a tremendous effort. And I was absolutely delighted for them through the tears. It's one of those nights that makes you realise that there's nothing down for you. First, I mean, a deflected goal, whereas you're on the end of one, Leeds score one.
That's very true.
A goal where that easily could have been ruled out had they gone back for a challenge by Calvert-Lewin on Euro that no one looks at. Then a sending off, and you start
I didn't think that was a foul. Bit
Didn't you? I thought it was an arm in the back of the head. I'm surprised. I mean, look, I've seen them given. It would have been soft, but I've seen them given. So that's when you start to think, it's just, I mean, there is absolute... I mean, look, you make your own luck, and Spurs ultimately don't deserve it, let's be honest. So we shall see.
The sending off has caused so much discussion.
I'm with Simon. I thought the same thing. I thought after the game, I mean, if you've just lost your first game at Old Trafford, I mean, it is... I mean, look, he obviously does believe it, Michael Carrick, but again, you know, we've seen... The annoying thing is that it's inconsistent. Sometimes you see a hair pull and players get away with it. They're not always picked up. But
we had one in the Chelsea-Arsenal women's game recently, and the referee was castigated for missing it. It was a worse one than that, to be
fair. I mean, there was the one, there was Christian Romero and Cucurella all that time ago.
Oh, that was terrible.
That went completely...
Well, he should have been sent off.
Yeah.
You know,
so, so you see some given, some not. So I can understand the frustration, but let's not go looking for consistency.
Quite like Paul Tierney's announcement. Number 6, and guilty of pulling his hair. It was a very strange way of saying hair.
Pulling his hair, did he?
Yeah, it was a very strange way of saying hair. It wasn't particularly... I don't know where he's from, Paul Tierney, but it's, yes.
I'll look it up, shall I? See, get someone else to pronounce it.
If Leeds play this well against Chelsea in the semi-final, they'll absolutely thrash us.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a real kicking match like 1970.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
Yeah, all the sort of neck-high tackles going in. Where's Paul Tierney from? Let's find out. He is from... Oh, he's from Wigan. He's only from Wigan.
Well,
I don't think they say her.
I don't know how they say her.
Maybe just
yeah. I missed the first goal because I was sort of faffing around trying to find the Olivier Theatre Awards for Sue. I couldn't find it.
Oh, okay.
By the time I sorted it all out again, decided to watch, I'd missed Leeds score, their first goal.
Just a little insight into Andy's life.
Great, isn't it? My life, tremendous.
So yeah, it is. It's certainly changed the complexion. We're going to have a chat with Ross Cormack in a moment, a former Leeds striker. Get his take on it. He's not really. He's been quite fortunate. He's dabbled with a relegation dogfight as a player, but not that much. So, but anyway, he'll give us a bit of insight into that and what he made of Leeds' performance last night, whether he really does feel
the problem for
confident
Spurs is Leeds have got Wolves next week.
Yeah.
You know, and they probably get something from the game. You'd imagine so, unless Wolves do something special. And Spurs have got Brighton, and it's hard to see getting too much out of that.
I mean,
so
Spurs
it could be 9 points by next Monday.
Spurs still play Leeds at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Having said that, we've seen how brave and how good they looked last night. I mean, look, they rode their luck a bit at the end, but that was understandable. As soon as it went to 2-1, they were going to be rocking a bit, but they held on. And the way they played in that first half was excellent.
Oh, they were brilliant. They could have been 4-0.
It should be a blueprint for some of the others. I mean, well, I say some of the others. All the others have been relatively brave. To Spurs, to try and be brave and get on the ball and think that's the best way about it and not be timid, which has been the case in a lot of...
But they sort of played like that all season, really. So, you know, they've never really, apart from that game at Arsenal...
But you could understand it being a problem now in the situation they were in, especially going to Old Trafford. So that Dublin mini break wasn't very fantastic.
I'm very impressed with the sporting directors and Chelsea, the hierarchy. They've given themselves a massive pay rise.
Well, I think well deserved.
It is deserved, isn't it? For record losses, terrible recruitment, an unbalanced squad, and basically really poor on and off the pitch.
Waiter, champagne.
I know they sort of buried these figures amongst, all the other big news stories today. It's amazing, isn't it? Well, I've noticed.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the important thing.
Really.
Anything else?
Yes. Well, I watched Mastermind. I very much.
Oh,
enjoyed
okay,
it.
good.
Yeah, Clive with his specials when he sort of like tells you who it is. Amelia Earhart.
Oh, yeah.
The pioneering American aviator who broke several world records and later disappeared in an attempt to circumnavigate the world. I thought, yeah, great. Not Amelia Earhart hairdressers in the high street.
How many people would know Amelia Earhart?
God, she's the most famous woman fly. She's the first woman ever to fly a plane, isn't she, Amelia Earhart?
First woman ever to fly a plane?
I believe so.
You just make this stuff up, don't you? No wonder you're not a mastermind. I mean, look, I reckon
I like this one. Sir Laurence Olivier. Yes.
Is she big on TikTok, Andy?
Not big on TikTok. The founding director of the National Theatre, regarded by some as the greatest actor of his generation. I thought, by some, obviously not by you, Clive.
Yeah.
Not Larry Oliver Plumbing of
Well, was he the greatest? 03717 Hello, lads. Great show. I love Larry, but for me...
it's got to be Gielgud all day.
It's Schofield all day for me, lads. Has anyone seen Laurence Olivier? Fantastic. Yeah.
And finally, the Red Wines of Burgundy.
Oh, yeah, well, they were a good band. I remember them. That John Peel session they did, yeah, very good.
The red wine, yes, the red wines of the historical region of East Central France. Thanks, not hops in Kent. Then tremendous, isn't it? Don't need to say anything. Also, I've discovered a flaw in the whole system.
What of
Mastermind?
Well, I think you're about 58 series too late.
Well, they have separate semi-finals. Like last week, the bloke got through. Even he admitted, he said, "I can't believe I got through." He only scored 19. It was quite poor, really.
Bit thick, was he?
Well, no, he's obviously not thick.
I'm only kidding.
But then this week, Mike won it with Miles. His name was.
Oh, okay. How soon forgotten?
I can't read my own writing.
Yeah.
Miles won it with 26 points. That's
impressive.
That is a tremendous score. Yeah. But Carolyn, who came second...
Who are these people?
24 points, and she doesn't get to the final. I was outraged.
So you want it done on a kind of aggregate?
I think it should be.
Okay.
I'm going to write to the BBC.
Get Donald Trump on board, and he'll get Infantino on board, and then it will happen.
And Clive Murray will get a Peace Prize. Tremendous.
Yeah, it's be good. Anyway, David Webb's going to join us, son of former Chelsea star and FA Cup winning. Maybe that's quite, with the FA Cup against Chelsea coming up, against Leeds coming up, that you'll be seeing David's winning goal quite a lot. His lad David will be in the studio he's just left Georgia. He was one of the coaches with Georgia and working with Kvaratskhelia, and so good insight. I mean, we saw how good the guy is. We know how good the guy is, and he heads to Anfield tonight. And you always feel they're going to have a goal in them, so it's going to be a tough night for Liverpool. And we'll be keeping you in touch with that one.
It's hard to see them getting out of the game.
In kick-off from 7. But we'll talk to David about working with him and the rise of one of the world's top players. England's women in action tonight. Massive game. A World Cup qualifier against Spain at Wembley. And the jeopardy is that only one team will go through in the group. They've sort of rejigged the way they do the World Cup group. So you could find yourself in a playoff, which we could probably do without. So Angelina Kenny's going to set the scene for that one. Neil Forsyth is the writer of The Gold, the excellent series you probably saw on the Beeb about the Brinks-Mac Gold and what happened to it after the robbery.
Yeah, very good.
And he's going to be popping in. He's a big Dundee United fan. They've got the shake-up, the split, haven't they? Yeah. And I think they've got the derby just around the corner. Josh Taylor had to retire from boxing last year. He's going to be popping in to see us in the studio, former undisputed welterweight champion. We'll head over to Spain and look ahead to Atletico versus Barca as well, delicately poised. Lawrence Booth from Wisden will be here because the new edition is out this week. Big night in the Championship. And again, we'll be right across that for you this evening. And we'll also be chatting to Gabriel Clark, who's going to be in action for Amazon Prime tonight at the Liverpool PSG game, and we'll be catching up with him later on in the show. So to get in touch on anything at all, talksport.com/H&J. You can text to 81089. You can tweet to TSH&J and give us a call, 03717 223344. We kick off chatting the former lead striker Ross McCormack and looking at the run-in, the teams that are left down there. And who's the most likely to go? I wonder who that could be. We're here with Tool Station. Check out your wide range of garden power tools with brands such as Bosch and Ryobi. Next stop, Tool Station.
Do you think Arteta's too pragmatic, Simon? Is this going to be the difference as to who ends up winning it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he says to the players in the dressing room, but clearly I do think the coach's responsibility is if he's not actually kicking a ball, it's his responsibility to set the players up mentally and structurally to be able to do it in a fashion that produces the best outcome. And I use the word navigate at the beginning of this section because that's what I think Arsenal are trying to do. They're trying to navigate their way through games, not impose themselves on games, not take control of the game, not to be bold, not to be fearsome, fearless. Sorry, in their their reaction to circumstances. Now, when they went away to Sporting, it was the perfect time to not be bold because they were trying to manage a European game, and they got praise from me last week, and people criticised them because it was considered to be a workmanlike performance. But a 1-0 away result in a European game is a good result. Now they'll bounce back tomorrow or Wednesday whenever they're playing against Sporting and produce an outcome again. I think everything will be revealed on Sunday when they play Manchester City.
The question is,
they'll be bold then when they play City.
Oh no, they won't be daft. No. They'll do what they normally do. The question is, if Arsenal were 3 or 6 points behind City when they played Bournemouth at home at the weekend, what would they have done different? Yeah. They would have committed. They'd have played quicker, more urgency. They would have got more men forward earlier in the game. They would have gone after them.
Feels like Arsenal have something to lose rather than something to win.
Well, it's a bit like Rory with a six-shot lead, wasn't it?
Yes.
That dwindled on day 3.
Yeah. So that begs the question then, who are Arsenal's biggest opponents in this title race? Manchester City or...
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
It's been a mad weekend, so what awaits tonight? Comes down to Okafor, and he dabs it home, and Leeds United do lead 4 minutes into the game. They've started brightly, back to Okafor, little volley and a flick into the far corner.
Ups and downs, we want to be better, okay, and we will be.
The referee has stopped the game here. Is there going to be a red card here? Martinez has pulled Dominic Calvert-Lewin's hair.
There's no way that you can say that is violent conduct, can you?
Red card, straight. Off you go.
Shocking decision. Come on, that's a red card then. The game's gone.
Fernandes with a better delivery. Casemiro to the far post, and he scored again.
Unbelievable proud. Also first ever win on Premier League level for us here.
6 points clear of relegation. What a performance from Leeds United. They have beaten Manchester United by 2-1.
Yes, fantastic front foot brave performance by Leeds at Old Trafford last night, which has really put the cat among the pigeons in that race. I mean, I think we have to, shall I say, no disrespect to Wolves and Burnley, but I think they've effectively gone.
They have.
Just leaving Tottenham, West Ham, Forest and Leeds. Obviously, they'd still be in the mix, and that's what Daniel Farke was saying afterwards. It's nice to get a victory like this, but it's all about points on the ball. Well, they're up to 36 now. They've improved their goal difference. And they're on 15th with Tottenham on 30, West Ham on 32, Forest on 33. So where does that leave the relegation dogfight? Ross McCormack, former Leeds striker, joins us now. Hey, Ross.
Afternoon, guys. How are we doing?
Good, thank you.
Thanks,
It's probably, I mean, when the Leeds fans looked at the games coming up, they would have been hopeful of getting something from Old Trafford, but they were, I wouldn't say they were writing it off, but there were other games that they thought they could probably pick up points in. So to pick up points in this one is a massive boost, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, that's the biggest game in the calendar for Leeds United. Everyone looks forward to that game when the fixtures comes out. So to go there, I think they would have snapped your hand off for a point last night. But I've got to admit, when I seen the team come out and I saw that Tanaka was playing in midfield and Okafor and Aronson both playing, I thought they could, give Man United a run for their money. I didn't expect that first half performance. That's the best I've seen Leeds play in a long, long time. Yeah. I thought it dominated Manchester United first half, and essentially that was a catalyst to keep going second half and get them over the line.
And it takes a lot of bravery to pick a side like that and then for that side to go out and execute it, doesn't it? Especially considering the situation they're in.
Well, see, I look at it the other way myself. I think the manager's probably looking at it going, well, if I don't pick a forward-thinking team and have a go against Man United and get beat, then, I could be in for a little bit of trouble, criticism, what have you. So I think it was probably a shot to nothing. Why not go and pick an attacking team and have a go against Man United? If you get beat having a go, then, at least the fans will, the fans can hold their hands up and say, hey, we had a go, we weren't quite good enough.
They played with so much more energy than United. It was quite a strange performance.
Yeah.
United really only started playing when they went down to 10 men and Leeds retreated. They've been good all season, Leeds, without picking up some of the results. They've only been thrashed in one game. So they'll be happy with their work so far this season, I think.
Oh, definitely. I think the turning point was at the Etihad half-time. They were getting abused really off of Man City first half, and then they changed the formation 3-5-2, and since then Leeds have been competitive in nearly every game, so I think they can be happy with the work so far. And what an opportunity at the weekend, Wolves at home, to go and probably rubber stamp your your place in the Premier League next season. I think if they win that game, I think that's them safe.
I agree. And they've taken 4 points off Chelsea this season. Absolutely thrashed them at Ellen Road, deservedly under Maresca. Bit lucky in the 2-2, but they've got a great chance in this semi-final. The way Chelsea are playing, you'd fancy Leeds to win that.
Well, 100%. I think in that game, the first goal is going to be key. If Leeds get it, Chelsea could go into their shell and fold. If Chelsea score early on, then they get the wind in their sails, their tails are up, and it could be a tough afternoon for Leeds. But I'm looking at it. Go and pick the same team. Give the boys a freedom to go and play at Wembley, and they will give Chelsea a right run for their money.
I don't know if you've ever worn your hair long enough.
They're both going to lose to City in the final anyway. I won't worry about it. Not even worth getting there, really.
Ever worn your hair long enough to have it pulled, Ross, over the years? I just wonder what you made of that moment. I don't know if it is, as Michael Carrick says, the worst decision he's ever seen in football.
No.
I mean, I don't know if it's the worst decision, but is it violent conduct? I mean, I'm not so sure. I must admit, when I seen it, I was laughing. I've wanted to do that a few times to them players that wear ponytails, to be honest with you. But I'm sure we've seen one earlier on the season. Someone get sent off for a hair pull as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was in the Premier League. It might have been a different league I was watching, but that's obviously set the precedent. And if it's a red card, you can't argue with it. But for me, it's not a red card at all.
I think that isn't the law pulling it with force. I suppose you have to assess the amount of force there was.
It's worth appealing. It'll be interesting to see what happens if they appeal it.
I don't think they'll have a chance. I think the fact it's in the laws would, and I think they're going to double down on it. Otherwise, it's a sort of. Otherwise you start getting into the weeds. You're saying, well, yeah, he pulled his hair, but how hard did he pull his hair?
And he did have 2 goes at it. It was a daft thing to do.
It's very un-Argentinian-like thing to do.
Oh yeah,
isn't
absolutely.
It? Not the sort of thing they would generally do.
No.
So, it looks. You would probably say, Ross, at the moment that Spurs are favourites, and Andy was just saying to me off air, it's quite hard to believe that they have found themselves in this situation. It certainly would be a massive story if they were to go down. But I don't know if you've seen much of them recently. I know you caught any of the game against Sunderland at the weekend, but of the teams that are down there, they do look the most likely simply because of the way they're playing and the lack of fight and lack of belief in the team.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. The last few games, for me, you're watching them, you're looking for a spark that just doesn't seem to come. Even the Sunderland goal, you know, they're letting them run inside to a shooting position. I know it's a little bit lucky, you get a deflection, but he shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. You see players coming off crying. Well, why have you not been crying for the last 3 months when you have been getting turned over left, right and centre? It all just seems like it could be a little bit too late. I mean, you look at next season, can you imagine first game of the season, Tottenham at home to Lincoln in the Championship? It's ridiculous, isn't it?
I'll be there.
Not if they're charging the same price
Me
as
and
you
about
won't be.
15,000 others, I would imagine. So, yeah, you've never really... I mean, you flirted with relegation a bit at Fulham, didn't you? But it never got that bad. But, I mean, I do sense the Spurs players feeling a bit sorry for themselves when things don't go their way. I mean, that's probably the last thing you can do when you're down there.
Yeah, listen, it's not easy. I think when you're in a dogfight, you've got to look round about the changing room and think, first and foremost, right, who do you want next to you in a battle? And to be quite honest with you, I look around that Tottenham squad and there's not many there. There's not many there that you would pick to, you know, go to battle with you. I think Conor Gallagher will roll his sleeves up for sure, probably the two centre halves. I mean, other than that, it's quite a hard pick, isn't it? I think my first season at Fulham, it was under Felix Magath, and we were struggling. I think if Felix would have kept the job, we might have been in big trouble, to be honest. But the powers that be relieved Felix of his duties and brought in Kit Simons, who in the end saved us, probably with a few games to go. So that was as close as I came to relegation, but it's not a good feeling at all.
No, I mean, new manager bounce hasn't worked for Spurs. 2 new managers. Well, I mean, it's a bit early on De Zerbi, fair play. But look, we shall see. You're fighting this week. We often have a chat with Graham Stack, the former Arsenal keeper, who puts on these big boxing nights, a night to remember. And you're on the bill. You're fighting Matt Kilgallen, aren't you?
You can't believe that, can you? Yeah, I'm fighting Big Killer. I must admit, he's a good friend of mine. I work at Ellen Road in the home games with him. I've had a bit of banter about it and stuff, so I'm looking forward to getting in there on Friday evening.
And you fancy your chances? Did you go in as favourite?
Oh, I don't know about that. There's a height and weight disadvantage there.
Brilliant. Well, we're going to be putting out on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel so people can watch all the fights. I'll give you some of the others. Chris Awelamo versus Lee Trundle. Carla Keamy versus Bradley Orr. Ross is taking on Matt Kilgallen, as we just said.
Me versus the 2 Chelsea sporting directors.
Yeah, well, I'd watch that. Tag team. That would be good. Brilliant. Well, I hope it goes well for you. Thanks, as always, Ross. All the best.
No problem, guys. Take care.
Ross McCormack, former Leeds United striker. Yeah, catch him in action on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel when he has the big fight on another night to remember too up in Liverpool. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT, and still to come, David Webb, who was the former assistant coach of Georgia, will be popping in. We're going to talk about the great Visha Vatskelia and the damage or not he could do to Liverpool tonight. We all know what a fine player he is, and we saw what he was capable of in the first game and over the last couple of seasons at PSG. So David gives us an insight into working one of the world's best players in a few moments' time.
Let's talk about the Pards derby. Newcastle came to Crystal Palace. They went 1-0 up, but ended up losing 2-1. Mateta, who's had a good week for Palace, even though he wanted to leave at one point. He's happy to be there now, still kicking the corner flag, doing his thing for Palace, but...
Yeah, he's got this dream of, and he's got this goal to play for France. I mean, when you look, Cherky's French, and all the great players they got. I mean, it does look a long shot for him. But if you give him a chance, and he's timed it well, Glasner, he's put him in that European game. They've not been playing well, and he's come to the fore. And they wouldn't have won these 2 games without him. He's not just the way he plays, it's his personality. I think he's an infectious kind of personality.
Is he better than Dom Solanke?
No, I don't think so. But I think in terms of a presence and a personality in the dressing room, that might make up for a lot of his technical faults, if you know what I mean. But, you can't... He has definitely got minerals.
Delivers as well.
You can see when he takes penalties and stuff, he's out... I don't like to say he's having himself, but he is. And I like that. You need players who've got that about them. And great result for them. Newcastle take the lead, lose. And, one of the things about being manager in Newcastle is that result and that fact that they've turned over a lead again will be absolutely scrutinised to the finest detail.
Michael Carrick says Lisandro Martinez's hair pull red card is one of the worst decisions he's ever seen. But Simon Jordan says there's no excuses.
I mean, so if it's outlawed and you know you can't do it, which you probably didn't know because you wouldn't have bothered reading the rules, you only complain about them even though you don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Why pull his hair? So we all can talk about the ridiculousness of how it isn't really violent contact. It's come on, these are grown men.
Yeah.
But why pull his hair then?
Leeds are now 6 clear of Spurs in the bottom 3. Now, a supremely confident Rico Verhoeven's told talkSPORT he's going to do to Alexander Usyk what no other fighter has.
Knock his head off. That's what I'm going to do. I'm, like I said, I'm like 55 pounds heavier. Yeah. So as soon as I hit him, it's going to be something different.
The kickboxer takes on the heavyweight champion of the world at the Pyramids of Giza on the 23rd of May. You can watch the full interview with Jim and Simon on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. And England Test cricket captain Ben Stokes says it would be a massive overstatement to suggest he wasn't aligned with head coach Brendan McCullum on the Ashes tour of Australia. They appeared to take contrasting approaches during their 4-1 thrashing over the winter. England are looking to bounce back against New Zealand and Pakistan this summer.
Liverpool PSG this evening. It could have been a whole lot more comfortable for PSG had they taken their chances, but Liverpool still very much in the game, but always that feeling with the quality they have up front that they will at least score one goal. Now, one of the goal scorers, Kvaratskhelia, the Georgian, has been working with our next guest until very recently. He was the assistant coach of Georgia, took them to a major tournament as well, Woody Sanyol. David Webb, good to see you, David.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good. We've spoken down the phone when you've been working with the team, but it's lovely to see you in person. You've just left. You're looking to branch out and get a senior role yourself after everything you've learnt in the Georgia experience.
Yeah. So my next role is I'm looking to work at the highest levels, and for my next role, I'll be head coach.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
you've got to aim high, haven't you?
I mean, it's a great setup, and you've learnt a lot there. Was it a difficult decision to sort of pull away from it now?
I think it comes to a natural end because we achieved a lot, like really quickly. Getting to the first major tournament was incredible for us, and not qualifying for the World Cup this time around was quite disappointing.
Yeah,
and I think we've left the team in a really good place. You know, the players have like moved on to higher clubs. You know, so there's good progression, and yeah, I think for me it just come for a natural end, and yeah, onwards and upwards to the future.
Kvaratskhelia is one of those names. Whenever they do those, the great players that you're not going to see at the World Cup, he's always front and centre of that, which is a great shame, isn't it? I mean, how do you think Georgia would have fared if you could have made it? And just explain what happened in qualifying. Why did it not happen for you?
Yeah, we had a tough group.
Mm.
Yeah, we had Spain and Turkey was tough for us.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you go through these qualification stages, we got really good players. Obviously, Kvaratskhelia and Mama, but we haven't got the depth of what a France, a Germany, and England have got as well.
Yeah.
So it does sometimes depend on the luck of that draw. I mean, we was very competitive, like in terms of our games, but we just didn't have enough against those big teams. But I think if we would have reached the World Cup, we would have had, we would have been competitive again. Because I think when we went into the Euros, we was the lowest ranked team.
Mm-hmm.
So our mentality going into that was, right, we're not going to be tourists. We're going to create this sort of like wolf pack mentality and just play with no fear. So I think
Played well too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we would have took that into the World Cup.
They get to quarterfinals, isn't it?
No, Spain, our nemesis, knocked us out in the second round again.
Okay.
Has Kvaratskhelia changed in the time that you knew him? I mean, he's become obviously a big world star now. I mean, he had a big breakthrough season at Napoli, and he's gone on, and we saw last week what a wonderful player.
He's so strong as well. It's not just his skills.
Yeah, I mean, what's it like to work with him?
Oh, he's a phenomenal talent, and I think since I joined Georgia in 2023, he was at Napoli at the time, and he'd just been off that season where he just won Serie A. And then he had a spell under Conte, and I think that really took his game to another level in terms of his work rate and his physicality, because obviously under Conte you have to work, you have to put in the defensive work. And I think that really put him on the radar to go to the next level with PSG and then start competing for Champions Leagues and stuff like that, which they was very successful in last year. So I think we've seen, if you look at his stats during the Champions League, obviously we can see his talent, like on the ball, what he does without the ball, but his work rate now, I think he's one of the highest sort of outputs from the attacking players to come back defensively, and I think that's it's a real credit that he's added to his game.
Yeah.
When we were in Russia for the World Cup, we discovered that the food in Georgia is the best in the area.
Did you?
That's what we were told.
There was a Georgian restaurant in the hotel in Moscow, and I mean, what did you find? Didn't you? You didn't sound quite so keen.
No.
And you're glad to get back for pie and chips.
Obviously, you always miss your home comforts, but there's a lovely dish called khachapuri, which was
doesn't sound lovely.
What a great player he was.
I remember Too Shy was their big hit, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
It tastes better than it sounds. It's like a garlic bread, but it's got this thick bread.
Yeah.
With like melted cheese in the middle. I mean,
sounds like a great pre-match meal.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like what
half time.
What the Spurs boys have been eating 5 minutes before kickoff recently. Yeah.
So have you been Paul? You've been following English football and watching the Premier League and all that?
Yeah, because with international football, I've always been based in the UK because part of my role was, when you're not in camp, is to observe our players, and apart from one or two, most of them are scattered around Europe.
Yeah.
So it was easy to transport from the UK to get on flights and go and keep an eye on our players and stuff.
So quite a few trips to Paris then to check in on him.
Do you know what? I never got the gig for that one.
Oh,
no, that was Willie. He was based in Bordeaux, so he was like, "Well, I'm taking that." So
yeah. I was saying earlier on, has he become Billy big time at Kvaratskhelia? Is he just the same kid, and is he the same in camp? Because you think he's only 25. He seems like he's been around for a long time, doesn't he?
I think to describe him, if you was to go into camp and you see him sitting down eating dinner and you didn't know who he was, you just think, well, he's just one of the lads.
Yeah.
Because he's very humble. He's quite quiet. He's not like an outwardly loud person. Where he talks is on the pitch and in training. In training, his work rate, his attitude, his application. He wants to do more. And I always find with the top players, they got this hunger about them and this desire to learn. And all he used to say to me is, I want to be as good as Ronaldo. I want to be as good as Ronaldo.
Okay.
That was his idol. So after training, we used to have to try and get him off because he'd practice, he'd have a routine. Five shooting his right, 5 left, 3 kicks, 5 penalties. And then we'd have a game the next day and Willie would be going, David, get him off. But he's just, that's just him. He just wants to improve all the time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And is he patient? I mean, look, you mentioned you haven't got the depth of quality in the Georgian squad, which is an issue, but is he patient with his teammates? Is he a kind of arm round the shoulder for some of the guys, or does he get frustrated sometimes? Not all at the level.
No. I mean, recently he's just been made captain. So, it's a big responsibility on his shoulders. And he is the face of Georgian football.
Sure, yeah.
But no, he's very patriotic, and he's very, and with the Georgians, they're very passionate about their country. So he will never show his frustration or anything in training because there's various levels. So in the Georgia camp, you have players obviously like Mamo, the keeper at Liverpool or at PSG. You would have some in maybe sort of lesser leagues, but we had to train to his standard to get the best out of the squad.
Yeah.
And he never showed any frustration if sometimes things wasn't always, up to where he is at PSG, because obviously we can't replicate that.
Sure. We should talk about Mamardashvili as well, because
he's done all right, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's getting more game time because of this injury to Alisson, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a difficult time for Liverpool. So I don't know what you've made of his time there so far.
Yeah, he's had to. I think when we was first speaking, I think I was speaking to him about the move potentially. He's so dedicated. He asked me, he said, David, can I have a list of phrases that English defenders say to the goalkeepers?
Right.
Can you text them all to me? And I'm like, okay, so I'm thinking of all these phrases. And he said, is there any more? He said, I don't want to miss. I don't want to understand. He said, because
your fault.
Yeah, it could be a few of those.
Keepers. I mean, that's the one they'll shout, isn't it? Keepers, that would do.
Yeah.
So how's he been doing with those, those phrases?
Yeah, no, because he could speak good English anyway.
Yeah.
He just wanted to really adapt and get into the cultural aspects.
The vernacular, yeah.
And
I always thought he was a great keeper. To go and be a number 2 effectively is tough, I would think. You've always got to back yourself.
I think he knows Alisson's won't be there forever.
Yeah. He's playing the long game, maybe, isn't he, David?
Yeah, I think so. And also, if you look at Alisson, sometimes he's had a few injuries over the last few years, so he was sort of not wanting that to happen, but being ready when that did happen to take his chance. So I think that was the anticipation. If he could get, 10, 15 games throughout the year, and then obviously feel that naturally progression when Alisson retires or moves on.
Yeah. So, just finally, from your point of view, you're a few irons in the fire, having a few conversations.
Yeah. I've had conversations with a couple of UK clubs, a couple of European ones, and coming off the back of being international football, like a couple of federations as well. Because that's when you work at international level, it's very addictive.
Yeah, absolutely. And would you like? It would be great if Kvaratskhelia came to the Premier League one day, wouldn't it? Do you ever see that happening? Is that something?
35.
Well, is that something
he's coming in the next couple of years?
Well, you never know. He's still only 27. He'd still have a lot to give. 27, 28. Could you see it happening?
I think it'd be great for the Premier League if he would come. He's an exciting player, and he would definitely sort of light it up. Would he come? Yes, he would come if it was the right opportunity and the right club.
Did he talk to you about Premier League football?
Yeah. We spoke about it. Yeah, he was always interested.
Did he have a Premier League club he followed, David? You could think of.
It's Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea's the big ones.
Right.
That was competing in the Champions Leagues and stuff.
Bad news for Preston North End. Then.
Yeah, he said, I don't want to go to Tottenham.
No. Well, yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, not at the moment. Once the great fight back, and by the time he's 27, 28, when we're duking it out the top in the Champions League once again. And any other Georgians, finally, we should know about? Any other players you think sort of coming through, names to look out for?
Yeah, I think there's... The way we used to play at Georgia, we used to play like a 3-5-2 in some of our games. So who used to partner Kvaratskhelia was another striker called Miko Tatsi, and he's at Villarreal, and he's had a really good season.
Yeah,
he's progressed on from when I first went there. He was at Metz, then he went to Lyon, had a good season. Now at Villarreal, so similar sort of age, 24, 25 striker. he'd definitely one to watch.
Wow, name to look out for.
Yeah,
well, good to see you, David. Once again, we wish you all
Thanks,
the
guys.
best getting back in a new role, and thanks for joining us.
No problem, thank you.
There we are, David Webb, the former assistant coach of Georgia. You'll be kept in touch with that game between Liverpool and PSG tonight with Adrian Durham, Charlie Adam and Mickey Gray were around the grounds this evening, and all the fallout, of course, on that, and Atletico versus Barca, and the games in the Championship, which we'll be chatting about later on. Will be in the sports bar with Jamie and Jason at 10. Big game in women's football tonight at Wembley. England plays Spain, and it's a World Cup qualifier with a lot at stake. Angelina Kelly pops in and tells us more about that shortly. We're here with Toolstation. Get your toolbox essentials this spring with big savings on screws and fixings. Next stop, Toolstation.
Abby Summers, it is Sunday, April the 12th. Your football club, Tottenham Hotspur, are 18th in the Premier League.
Why is he crying now? I tell you what, if they could all just stop crying and actually start real, have they only just realised? Like this is what is annoying me. This is what is annoying me. I've seen Romero cry. I've seen Mickey van der Ven cry. Where has that been all season? Has it just occurred to you, with 7 games to go, now 6 games to go, that you are sending this football club down? The captain, now you're crying. You weren't doing that when you was getting yourself sent off and missed 7 games this season. Mickey van der Ven couldn't one-on-one defend for weeks on end. We sat here and watched. Now you're crying because you realise that you're going to get relegated. Is that what I'm watching here? When none of you have given 1 ounce of a toss the entire season. They've looked like they've been so arrogant about it. When they was walking off and just missing Thomas Frank. Didn't care, showing up late to training, which has been well documented from my club captain. Now you're sitting there and you're crying because you know that it's your backs are really against the wall, boys. You've got absolutely no quality in you. This is what is infuriating to me. It's now fully hit you. The arrogance about them is disgraceful. When people have sat there and they've said, well, Tottenham are too good to go down, you won't get pulled into it. We've slept-walked into this situation. The board slept-walked into it and had the arrogance about that, not bringing anyone in January, not trying to help Thomas Frank when they could. And I will always stand by the fact Thomas Frank was never, ever, ever the right coach for Tottenham Hotspur. You could see that. You could see that the way he set up against Chelsea. You could see that the way he set up against Arsenal. And after that, that was a sackable offence for me back in November.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
My mum's not going to be happy tonight because there's no Emmerdale. Because ITV1, honestly, there'll be nans all over the country marching on ITV with picture if their legs could get them there. Because it's live women's football tonight on ITV, and it's a big game. It's a huge game. It's England versus Spain. Not a friendly, a World Cup qualifier, and only one team can qualify through the group, so you'd find yourself in the madhouse of the playoffs, which neither of these sides want. One the world champions, the other the European champions. Angelina Kelly, one of our top team on women's football, has popped in to see us. Hi, Angelina.
Hello.
Yeah, it should be a really good... I mean, there's a lot of great football tonight, so it is going to be duking it out, yeah.
Why have they scheduled this game against the Champions League? Surely they could have found another place for it.
I think there's a lot of discussion about this international break in general in women's football because it's during a period where the Women's Super League is really, there's a lot of jeopardy going on. We know that the title will go to Manchester City, but those Champions League spots are up for grabs. And because of the FA Cup as well, I think you're actually looking at about 4 weeks, nearly 4 weeks, where there's no WSL fixtures. So a lot of people are discussing the timing of this international break. It was possible for England and other nations to play 3 games, but England have opted to only play the 2, which will be the Lionesses' 500th game, which will be on Saturday against Iceland, and this game tonight. There are over 73,000 tickets have been sold for the game that's at Wembley. Yeah, so it will be a good one. We've got players like Keira Walsh, who could be set to get her 100th cap, and also for those that do remember what happened at the Women's Euros last season, Mary Earps obviously opted to retire. She did not feature in that tournament. Things have come out afterwards in her autobiography about maybe not being too happy that Hannah Hampton was being picked ahead of her, but Mary will be recognised tonight at Wembley before the game for her contributions. I think whatever people's opinions are of how she left her time with England, she was still obviously a brilliant goalkeeper, 53 caps, so she will be recognised this evening.
Serena said she doesn't want the fans to boo her. I hope
no, I'm sure they
will.
I don't think so.
Hopefully not.
So, what sort of nick are Spain in at the moment? What are we expecting of them this evening? I mean, we know they're chock full of very, very good players, but, England did beat them at the Euros.
Yeah, 8.5 months ago was that Euro 2025 final that England won. So Spain, they've looked good. They got rid of the manager from the Euros. They brought in a new manager, Sonia Bermudez, and they've actually won the Nations League since the Euros. They're unbeaten. They do have certain players that haven't been available. Aitana Bonmati, for example, 3-time Ballon d'Or winner. She broke her leg towards the end of 2025, so she's still coming back. But it's allowed a few young players to come through. So you've got a player like Vicky Lopez, who was coming off the bench at the Euros. She's become a regular starter. You've got Fiamma Benitez, an Atletico Madrid midfielder who's looking really good. So it seems like a little bit of a changing of the tide with Spain, but in a good way, that they're starting to filter through a few of these younger players as well. And up front, they've got good options. Esther Gonzalez, she's available coming back from maternity leave. But they've also got Salma Parayuelo, who was really good at the Euros, and Edna Imade, Real Madrid player. So they've got a lot of options. This is a very, very stacked Spain side. So it's going to be a big ask for England, because also Leah Williamson could be a doubt. She's had injuries across this season. Whether they'll risk her or not, I'm not too sure. Ella Toone is still out as well. But England have still got a lot of
What about Russo? She fit to play?
Yeah, Russo.
Beth Mead's back, isn't she, as well?
Yes.
Against Chelsea.
Yeah, Alessia Russo's in fantastic form. There's a reason that she's in the mix, with some of the best players in the world. But I think regarding someone like Leah Williamson, she's been out with a hamstring injury since March. Before that, she's been in and out. Lotte Wubben-Moy has really stepped up to the plate for Arsenal when she's been injured. And she's I feel like her time is maybe due. Is it worth risking someone like Leah Williamson? As much as this is a big, big game, and like you say, Paul, only the winners of this group will get automatic qualification, and they won't want to have to play any more games than they have to, so they will want to top the group. But someone like Wubben-Moy, she made her debut for England in February 2021. She's only has 16 caps since, but she's always in the squads. She's apparently a really good teammate. So for me personally, I think if I was an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't want Leah Williamson being risked. But I think that Wubben-Moy is more than capable.
She has a great career in the media when she wants it. We've had her on a couple of times. She's really good fun. She's a good talker. Yeah. So, also a couple of young players. There's a couple of new faces in the England squad, isn't there? There's a young player unlikely to feature, but Serena Biegman's trying to bring through some of the next generation, get them involved in the squad.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is important as well. When you look at England, there are some fantastic players there that have been a part of the last 3 tournaments. But you've got somebody like Erica Meg Parkinson who's come through. So she actually plays in Portugal. So she's a Singapore-born midfielder. Like I say, only 17 years of age. Do we think that she's going to be starting both games? Probably not. But I think it's a good demonstration from someone like Serena to say, you know what, I do recognise that we need to start bringing other players through.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, midfield isn't a massive issue for England at the moment, but we should definitely be bringing players through. But I think defensively is where you look at England's back four, and it's hard to pick a solid back four because you have someone like Maya Letizier who's kind of been filling in at right back. Lucy Bronze, phenomenal player, but unfortunately we don't have a time machine. She's not getting any younger. So I think when you're looking ahead to this World Cup, which I believe, whether it's playoffs or not, England will of course qualify for, that's an area for me that makes me a little bit nervous.
Okay, so Adrian will definitely keep you in touch with that this evening, along with all the other big games, because you've been lover of women's football. So Adrian, Darren, Charlie, Adam, Mickey Gray with you from 7 o'clock. If you were going for a score prediction, would you take the draw now?
Ooh, you know what? Considering England are currently topping the table on goal difference, it's these games against Spain that are going to be the key for them getting automatic qualification or not. So I would take a draw personally, but I think this is going to be a good test for England to see where they've been at. Not saying that Iceland isn't a good team, of course, not saying that Ukraine aren't a great team, but Spain are the favourites for the World Cup at the moment as things stand. So big test. I'd love a win. But I think that I would definitely take a draw tonight.
You'll be likely to hear, I've got no time to talk about Manchester United.
Oh,
now,
what a shame.
Angelina's part of the Inside Devils show we do. When's the next one out? When's the post-mortem?
We just recorded one. Flex and I had a big debate over hair pulling gate. So that should be live, if not tonight, then tomorrow on the talkSPORT Man United YouTube channel.
Excellent. Thanks. We'll see you soon, Angelina. Thanks very much. Lawrence Booth is popping in at CS. I would imagine for the 15th time. He makes an annual pilgrimage. He's the editor of Wisden, Cricket's Bible. The new one is out. It's always throws up some very interesting debate around the world of cricket. Lawrence will be popping in very shortly.
Out of the stadium on Saturday, and I'm an old school, and I said to your researcher that I think this goes back a long way. It goes back to Arsene Wenger the last 11 years. We're cowardly. We've got nobody in the midfield. We've got a lovely bunch of players that are all on their own lovely. No Patrick Vieira. Nobody to stamp their foot. No, Patrick Vieira would have been the ideal person on Saturday because he would have got in amongst them. Declan Rice, amazing player. Amazing player. You can't knock him. Zubamendi, great technical player. But every time we tackle somebody, they're picking them up. Are you okay? Are you all right? We need somebody, Simon will probably tell you this in business, you need somebody that can hardball, that can go in and say, that's not working. What are you boys doing? They were all popping Zubamendi out on the pitch on Saturday because he was giving the ball away, to be fair. But this goes back to the Wenger days of turning us into a weak, cowardly club. And sadly, we're going to go up there Saturday. I'll be up there Sunday. I think it'll be 5-0. I've got this horrible feeling that they're going to tear us apart. I don't know what Danny thinks about. He spoke earlier about having somebody in the midfield that calms the nerve. We haven't got that. We just haven't got it.
And it's not going to be that, is it? When did Arsenal last concede 5 in a game? I mean,
I understand his fear. I understand his fear because if Arsenal played like they did at the weekend and City played like they did second half Chelsea did.
We'll be chatting to Ian Danter a little bit later on. He's your commentator for Pompey Ipswich tonight. A couple of huge games in the Championship, as always. Live commentary over on talkSPORT 2. More on that later. Cricket chat to come, and lots more besides. But first, Max Scott has the sports headlines.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Thanks, Paul. Good afternoon. Arne Slot believes an early goal would change the momentum in tonight's Champions League quarter-final second leg with Paris Saint-Germain. They head to Anfield 2-0 down. But Slot isn't ruling out a spectacular turnaround in front of their own fans.
Yes, there's a belief that we can do special things, but we also need to be very, 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 very special to achieve that, because we're playing against the champions of Europe.
Ali McCoist reckons Rio and Gamoa deserves to start tonight.
I like him. I really enjoyed his performance at Wolves. When I saw him, I thought he was really direct, commits people, takes people on.
We'll bring you live updates from Anfield for that one. Now, Michael Carrick says Lisandro Martinez's hair-pull red card is one of the worst decisions he's ever seen. But Simon Jordan says there's no excuses.
I mean, so if it's outlawed and you know you can't do it, which you probably didn't know because you wouldn't have bothered reading the rules, you only complain about them even though you don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Why pull his hair? So we all can talk about the ridiculousness of how it isn't really violent contact. It's come on, these are grown men.
Yeah.
But why pull his hair then?
A supremely confident Rico Verhoeven's told talkSPORT he's going to do to Alexander Usyk what no other fighter has.
Knock his head off. That's what I'm going to do. I'm, like I said, I'm like 55 pounds heavier. So as soon as I hit him, it's going to be something different.
The kickboxer takes on the heavyweight champion of the world at the Pyramids of Giza on May the 23rd. You can watch the full interview with Jim and Simon on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
16 years for a man who punched a deaf woman and left her to die. And are we woefully unprepared for war? Sinead's got more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. We now take American Express. More flexibility, same expert service. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
Sunny across northern and eastern areas. Across the southwest, cloud and rain moving slowly northeast. Feeling warmer.
Good afternoon, it is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Alex Crook, our chief football correspondent, joins us now with some big news from the Premier League. Crookie, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys, from the glorious surroundings of a bus stop at Banbury Station, just on my way back from Old Trafford last night. And I get the bombshell news for Bournemouth supporters. Andoni Iraola is to leave the club at the end of the season. This is not confirmed officially by the Cherries yet. It's my understanding that Iraola informed his players today that he believes his contract expires in the summer. It's a decision that he relayed to the powers that be at the Vitality Stadium during the international break. Didn't want to become public knowledge before that huge win against Arsenal at the weekend, so as not to distract from on-field matters. But Iraola will be leaving Bournemouth when his contract expires at the end of the season.
Yeah, interesting. It's no surprise, though, is it, Crookie? Because he's done so well, and he really got the pick of jobs, I think.
The timing of it's interesting because the job we understand he covets is to go to Athletic Bilbao. And there was a few stories recently that they were going to give it to Edin Terzic, but I think there was a comment from him yesterday, Iraola said, admitting they had spoken. I mean, I think with the amazing job he's done at Bournemouth, he would probably have his pick of some top jobs around Europe, but this could be it's where his heart is to go back to Bilbao and work there.
Yeah, and actually speaking to people close to Iraola earlier this season, despite the fact he's been linked with Tottenham, my understanding he's actually turned down the Tottenham job last summer before Thomas Frank was appointed. He's been linked with Manchester United as well because of the job he's done at the Vitality. But they were saying to me, if he goes anywhere at the end of the season, don't be surprised if it is back to Spain. Don't be surprised if it is to Athletic Club, as you say, a club that he supported as a boy. He made a lot of appearances for them. The Edin Terzic situation, I guess, is a bit of a fly in the ointment, but we're going to watch this with close interest. He may well still be target for Manchester United if they decide to appoint him in the Premier League, but I'm not sure he's particularly high on their wanted list at this moment in time. There's obvious connections with Liverpool if Arne Slot was to go, because Richard Hughes was a sporting director who brought Iriola to Bournemouth. And you can't argue with the job that he's done at the Cherries. They had a brilliant season in the Premier League last year. They're on a club record unbeaten run. There's every chance they qualify for Europe for the first time in their history. And of course, the big dilemma now is how do you replace, outside Eddie Howe, the most successful manager that Bournemouth have ever had? I'm told they do have two targets in mind. One is their preferred target, and we could well get more news on that in the coming hours and days.
Oh, yeah, they go for Liam Rossini. Eddie Howe, you mentioned him there, and my immediate thought was that's a path, isn't it? Bournemouth, Newcastle, and if it does go wrong for Eddie, I'm not sure it will, but if they do get rid of him, I would imagine Newcastle would be very interested as well.
Yeah, I think his record is there to be shot at. And what's even more impressive about this season is you go back to the summer and the number of high-profile departures. He basically lost most of his back four. Dean Howson to Real Madrid, Eliza Barney obviously went and joined PSG. They lost Semenyo mid-season. And it hasn't really knocked them off their stride. They've signed a really exciting young Brazilian in Rayan. And at one stage, the club were hoping the fact they reinvested in the winter transfer window would convince Iriola to stay. But I think the likelihood has always been that he will leave, having felt he's taken the Cherries as far as he can. But that's what makes him such a tough act to follow. What we should stress at this stage is the departure is entirely amicable. My understanding is the conversations between Iriola and the hierarchy during the international break were very amicable, and he goes with their blessing.
They're going to want to appoint somebody, Crookie, of a similar profile, you would think, simply because, you know, again, a bit like Brentford, they've got a good structure in place, and the manager...
The recruitment's fantastic.
Yeah, the manager is just one cog in the wheel. And, you know, you've got to go for the kind of manager that understands their kind of role in the setup and can do what they do brilliantly and leave other roles to other people, which I would imagine a coach like him was happy with because he's worked so brilliantly there.
Well, both of you guys in the studio have had a lot of calls this season to know about your owners and your sporting directors. Iriola certainly can't do that down in Bournemouth. Bill Foley, I think, is one of the best owners in the Premier League. He's put his money where his mouth is. He's built a brand new training ground. Yes, he's sold players, but he's not selling players to up down the food chain. He's selling players to the top clubs. Milos Kerkez to Liverpool is one I've got to mention as well. And he is bringing players in as well. He's ambitious. He told me in an exclusive interview with talkSPORT, we will get this club into Europe, if not this season, then sometime in the future. They've got Tiago Pinto, who's come in and replaced Richard Hughes. That's been a seamless transition. He's done a really good job as sporting director. So I think this is a good gig for someone. And actually, one of the names that's been mentioned to me in the last hour or so, I can't reveal who it is at this moment in time, but if they pull this off Bournemouth, I think this will be quite an exciting appointment.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll watch this space. And look, it's out there in the ether. You've just brought us the news. You would expect an official word from the club fairly soon, Crookie, I guess.
I would imagine we're going to get that within the next hour or so. And as I say, he wanted to tell his players first. And, we wanted to allow the players to know before we broke it on talkSPORT. But we can now confirm Iriola is to leave Bournemouth in the summer.
And let's hope it does. They are pushing for Europe, and they're still in the mix. And let's hope it doesn't derail that. You would hope not.
No, I think Bournemouth would hope it would have the opposite effect. It would have a galvanising impact on the dressing room. Iriola determined to go out on a high. He's handled himself with the best professional standards, and he'll be determined to leave his legacy. And what bigger legacy than taking a club of Bournemouth size and stature into Europe for the very first time.
Excellent. Cheers, Crookie. Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys.
There's Alex Crook there breaking the news that Andoni Iriola is to leave Bournemouth when his contract runs out at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I covered him yesterday, when I was talking jokingly, but it's so frustrating.
He wouldn't want to work in that structure.
No manager of any value whatsoever would want to work for Chelsea at the moment with those people who are running it. None. Because they just want a yes man. It's so obvious.
I think it sounds like he does want to go back to Spain and work with Athletic Bilbao. So that'll be an interesting move. We're going to have a chat with Phil Kitramilides later on, who is a Spanish football expert, and so we'll get his take on where the club are at and what the word is in Spain on that potential move. And yeah, he has done an amazing job. It's interesting. I was one of my neighbours, Chris Hughton, the former Spurs defender and coach of many fine teams in this country, and also coach of Ghana. We were chatting about Antoine Semenyo and how great he's been at City. And he obviously worked with him with Ghana. And said just what a brilliant job how he developed Semenyo's game at Bournemouth. Iraola said made him a better player across the board. It's I mean he's done an incredible job.
Yes.
And it sounds like he wants to take a job in a structure where he can work that way, because we saw with Thomas Frank.
Any good manager wants to call the shots. See, this is the whole point. What is the point of appointing somebody and then you do it? You might as well do it yourself.
Yeah.
They might as well get rid of Liam Rosenior and do it themselves.
But
it's pathetic.
If you want, we weren't talking about Chelsea. But if you want a structure at a football club, a bit like Thomas Frank found, sometimes you need the perfect structure for it to work. And when you find yourself in alien territory and you haven't got that support network, you struggle.
Yeah, well, look at Keith Andrews. Look how well he's done.
Yeah,
they've got the structure.
That's right. And you do feel that about Bournemouth as well.
Yeah,
they're going to be able to do the same thing. Just slot in a manager of a similar
Brighton,
profile.
same thing.
Yeah. That's the great thing, isn't it? That's what makes the succession planning work. As Crookie said, they've got a couple of names in mind, and if they manage to pull one of them off, it could be pretty big for them. But anyway, interested to hear from you, Bournemouth fans. 03717 223344 is the number to call. That's 03717 223344. talksport.com/H&J. You can text to 81089, or you can tweet to TSH&J. That's TSHANDJ. Were you expecting it, as it comes a bit of a bolt out the blue? And does he go with your blessing? If you want,
it's a good time to announce it after that fabulous victory.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah, it's a very good time. And let's get your thoughts. You're a lot closer to it than we are. We can get a feel for how you're feeling today. So still to come, Lawrence Booth from Wisdom will be joining us in the studio, as will Neil Forsyth, the screenwriter, Dundee United fan, to chat about his new Netflix show that he's written, Legends. And as we said, we'll be talking a bit of Spanish football later on and getting the latest from Spain on Iraola's possible return to
Brentford
Bilbao.
supporting friend says he thinks Thomas Frank would be perfect for Bournemouth because it's the sort of thing he likes.
That's an interesting shout, isn't it?
Thank you, Mark. Interesting.
Yeah, that is an interesting shout because, as we said, it's a very similar structure. Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH&J, 03717 223344. We're here with Toolstation. Explore the full collection of garden power tools with top brands such as Karsha and Makita. Next stop, Toolstation.
And Tyson Fury, along with Mr. Warren alongside him in the ring, had a look at Anthony Joshua sitting ringside. And Fury honed in on Joshua and said, okay, how about it?
Next, I want to give you the fight you've all been waiting for. I want you, AJ, Anthony Joshua. Let's give the fight fans what they want. The Battle of Britain. And here's my challenge. I challenge you, Anthony Joshua, to fight me, the Gypsy King, next. Do you accept my challenge?
Tonight is your night, and you know I'll sit across that ring from you in due time. You ain't gonna tell me what to do. I've been chasing you for the last 10 years. When you're ready, you come and see me and tell me your terms and conditions, and I'll have you in the ring when I'm ready. I'm the boss. You work for me. I'm the landlord. Remember that. I'm the landlord. You work for me.
Now, I've got to say, Simon, I thought AJ handled that brilliantly.
Yeah, to a point. I think he's absolutely right not to allow the whip hand to be Tyson Fury's, because Tyson's all pumped up after being back in the ring and having just won a fight. The flip side of it is I don't think Anthony Joshua is the landlord. I don't think coming after getting ironed out by Daniel Dubois puts you in the box seat. You are both the biggest names in British boxing over the last decade.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion?
That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. As we said, we'll get a view from Spain very shortly on whether Areola's heading back there to manage his boyhood club. Before that, though, Netflix has a new series in the offing. It stars Steve Coogan, Tom Burke, all you'll know from Cormoran Strike on the Beeb, Hayley Squires, who's been in the recent Night Manager, a fine cast and a fine writer. Neil Forsyth is the writer who wrote The Gold and Guilt. And we're going to be chatting to him in a couple of moments' time. Let's first give you a bit of a flavour of the new show.
Your legend is the identities we use when we work undercover. Your legend has to be part of you. One wrong word, one wrong decision, and you're a goner.
The heroin crisis is a national emergency. Mrs. Thatcher needs a crisis she can solve, and here it is. You think a few customs officers can take on the biggest drug gangs in Britain?
Absolutely.
There we are. Legends, and Neil will be with us in a few moments' time to chat about that.
I'm interested to discover why undercover agents are known as legends. I wonder what the reason is for that.
I think it's based on a true story, as we're about to discover. And he's also the creator of Bob Servant, which is a brilliant character. Then if it's a bit of a cult following, some of the listeners will be
I'm not really aware of Bob Servant.
Oh, the man who owns the cheeseburger van, played by Brian Cox of Succession fame.
Oh, right.
You've never seen it?
I've never seen it, no.
That's fantastic.
It
Yeah,
out.
and he's also a Dundee United fan. So
I was just saying to you there, we're talking about Areola.
yeah, oh yeah, you had an interesting shout. Here we go.
Producer will like this.
This will get you going.
If Arsenal don't win anything, he could replace his great friend Arteta.
What about that?
I think that might work.
So if they don't win anything, he could get the Arsenal gig. So what do you make of that, Arsenal fans? Would you welcome that?
Well,
03717 22 Neil has joined us in the studio. Hi, Neil. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. We just played the trailer.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, you put together a pretty tidy cast. We just ran through some of their CVs. It's much like The Gold. It's another true story, isn't it? Or based on a true story.
Yeah, inspired by.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I mean, it's. I think with trying to find a true story, you're just looking for something that gives you the canvas for 6 episodes, you know, that you can do with a bit of pace and you don't run out of story. And it's brilliant. I knew almost nothing about this one, so it was.
So did you discover it while researching, or did someone come to you with it and you started to sort of look into it in more?
So we heard about Guy's story, who's the character that Tom Burke plays, who's one of the legends. And I went and had lunch with him, and it was just crazy. It was just sitting chatting to this kind of older guy on a sunny day, very unassuming bloke who just telling me these fantastical stories about what he did 35 years ago. So, and then I just met more and more of them, more and more of the legends, and the story got better and better, I think.
Why are they called legends? I was asking that.
So when you go undercover, that's called your legend. So going undercover is called playing your legend. The kind of fake identity is your legend.
It's a very odd term, though. Legend normally means somebody of great note and repute, and
it's an odd term, but it makes a great title.
Yeah, it does.
He does.
What you're looking for?
Yeah. Well, you're fine. That's good for you.
Yeah. One thing I read as well is that you like to stick the odd vintage football shirt into every production you do.
Well, I've done that. Well, what I do is a lot of Dundee United references, too many really. It's kind of infantile.
What characters with the names of ex-Dundee United players? Right.
Surnames in particular.
Yeah.
I mean, what it is, you know, I write shows with big cast, and I've got to name them. And it's difficult. Once I've gone through family names or friends' surnames, I'm kind of running out, and I reach for 1980s Dundee United players. So it's and then it's only, but because I write episode to episode, it's only when I watch the whole thing go out I realise quite how often I did it. And then I get lots of texts from Dundee, basically. But
what's been
how many Dundee players? Sorry, Paul. Were in the gold.
Lots of Dundee United. Well, there's always a McLean in tribute to Jim McLean, a great manager, a great iconic manager. But there's always Milnes and Hegarty's and Sturrocks. It's all the kind of classic Davy Mary, people like that. And then the new one, there's a Goodwin in there in tribute to Jim Goodwin, our current manager, and Davy Bowman always gets mentioned. It's kind of exhausting. But with the gold, what I did do is put one of the Spanish extras in a 1983 replica Dundee United Championship winning top, which is really probably the highlight of my career, I'd say.
When Jim McLean, when I used to edit 90 Minutes, one of our subs decided to caption a picture of Jim in the magazine with Jim McLean once smiled in 1973, because we couldn't find any pictures of Jim with a smile on his face.
And do you remember the iconic interview he did, which sort of ends when he whacked the reporter?
Yes. Well, I think he probably would have done so. He phoned me up and he said, "Is that the editor of 90 Minutes?" I said, "Yeah, this is Jim McLean, Dundee United Football Club." I said, "Oh, hello, Jim." He said, "I'm not happy." He said, "But your magazine's been brought to my attention, and this caption, not smiled since not." Who wrote that? I said, "Was probably just one of our subs." And he said, "How dare you say that? How do you know I haven't smiled since?" And I said, "Well, I'm happy to print the correction." He said, "Yes, I would like you to." So we put in the magazine, Jim McLean has been in touch and has like to point that he has smiled since 1970. But he was dead serious.
He could have sued you.
I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, it would have been a hell of a court case, wouldn't it?
I interviewed Jim McLean when I was 15 for my school magazine.
Yeah.
And when I went into the boardroom at Tannadice, he went, "Right, give me your questions." And I was 15, took them, scored half of them out, gave them back. And then I said to him, "Do you think Dundee United should spend more on transfers?" And he called me hopelessly naive.
But what a great... I mean, you just don't get people running football clubs like that anymore, do you? It's fantastic. He was great value. So
how are they going, Dundee United?
Well, they're in you've got the derby coming up. So we've had the split, haven't we? And you're top of the split, aren't
Top
you?
of the Diddies, yeah. So that's where we're in 7th place, best of the rest, I suppose. And I think we'll probably be... We've got one more derby. But we've not done too well in the derbies this year, so we're looking forward to that. But it's been a funny season. We did very well last season, kind of overachieved after we got promoted. Ended up sneaking into Europe. So in the summer, I was over and watching us Rapid Vienna. Brilliant draw, 2-2 draw. It was about a few thousand United fans there. So we had lots of highlights, but kind of drifted away.
Yeah. So you said we'll spot eagle-eyed people will spot a bit of Dundee United in this, and any other shirts we should look out for.
There's a great classic Germany top.
Okay,
it's where the top Germany wore when they beat England in 1990. Great day.
Oh yeah, you've definitely put that in for
that's bad.
And Liverpool as well. There's some good Liverpool stuff in the show.
And is it true that you like to go to wardrobe afterwards and said, "Well, they're going to be no good to anybody. I'll take them home"?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh yeah,
for what I can.
Get some vintage shirts.
Of course. What about Scotland in the World Cup? You looking forward to that?
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm going over for the first game, a Haiti game. And just got to work out to get my tickets, but like everyone else. So we're going over for the first match. I think we'll do all right. I think we'll win the first game.
That's not the way Scotland normally do it. If it's the Costa Rica blueprint, they know.
Yes.
You normally lose to the first game and then heroically.
Well, here's what I think. I think we'll beat Haiti, I think we'll lose to Morocco, and I think we'll draw with Brazil.
Okay. Which will that? Well, that would be
the classic Scotland way to do it.
I was telling Andy about Bob Servant just now, a brilliant character played by Brian Cox, and I was I always thought there was a missed opportunity in Succession. That you could have done one of those split, when you get the two. And he's an old friend of Logan Roy's from their days in Scotland, and he gave him his first leg up, and he had a part-time job in the burger van.
Yeah, exactly. Assistant director of Onions. Yeah. Well, I think it's funny with Brian. Like, even he's such a fantastic actor, but even as Logan Roy, there'll be the odd little physical thing where I just see Bob.
You see Bob, yeah. Something popped up again recently. Well, one of your tweets for Bob. About Walk Like an Egyptian and Susanna Hoffs replying to it. Yeah, that was it sounded like it was a bit of a cup final for you. That you seemed a bit. Your reply means you were a bit of a fanboy.
Oh well, starstruck. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, I think Bob suggested that he met Susanna Hoffs from the Bangles in a service station of Invergowrie and said that her fledgling song "Walk Like a Bin Man" should actually be "Walk Like an Egyptian," and nothing ever was the same again. Anyway, Susanna Hoffs replied to it, which was just an incredible moment. I think I genuinely dropped my phone. It was great.
So when's Legends starting then, Neil? When can we see it?
May the 7th on Netflix. All episodes will be out that day. 6-part series about this incredible story of these normal customs officers who, with minimal training, went undercover into the drugs world, and brilliant cast. Really happy with it. I think it's a great story, and hopefully people enjoy it.
Fantastic. Yeah, great cast. We said Tom Burke, Steve Coogan, etc. So and Douglas Hodges as well.
Johnny Harris, Hayley Squires, and Melanie. It's brilliant. It's very exciting.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck in the remaining games for Dundee United, and good to see you. Thanks very much for popping in.
Nice to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Neil Forsyth, there, writer of Legends, coming soon in May to Netflix. A little bit more news on Andoni Iraola. In the last half hour, we discovered he's leaving Bournemouth at the end of the season. Marco Rosa is a leading contender to replace Andoni Iraola, the former Dortmund manager.
The way Crookie was speaking, though, it sounded like it was somebody more.
Well, that is quite a coup.
But
Kieran McKenna's also in the frame.
Yeah.
So these are the sort of names, the sort of profile of managers that they're talking about at the moment. So more on that. We're going to hear from some Bournemouth fans, and we're going to get a Spanish angle. Could he be heading back home to play in Bilbao? We'll find out in a few moments' time.
Tottenham Hotspur, this mighty club with a phenomenal stadium, we all know that, of course, are looking at heading to Sheffield United, with all due respect, Birmingham, Swansea, Preston, Stoke next season. Is that what's going to happen? Graham's a big Tottenham fan and joins us live. Graham, good morning. Is that what's going to happen?
I'm sorry to say, I think at the minute, I think it has to be. We'd have to be completely blindsided, I feel, to think anything else. I said in amongst group chats with friends that in January, the moment we slip into that bottom three, I don't see us getting out of it. And I think it's got nothing to do, and this alludes to a point that Simon made, I feel, maybe 10 minutes ago, about not necessarily having that quality, because it's clear that the quality hasn't been there this season. It's about having the fight and the mentality to actually pull yourself together earn the money that you're being paid and get yourself out of this and restore some sort of reputation that this football club has got. Unfortunately, I feel for us at the minute, we have too many players that have completely checked out. When the going got tough in and around January, February time, when you actually sat there and thought, we're in a bit of bother here, agents started appearing. Suddenly we've got Van der Ven doing interviews with his dad. And straight away you look at that and go, they're angling for moves already. We've got Paulina, who's on loan, who I actually really like, and I feel he's probably the closest one we've got to someone that's willing to stand up and fight and knows what it takes to try and win games of football. But when you look at, we've put up with Mr. Tickle in goal for most of the season. He's come out and started flirting back with Italy again.
Michael Carrick says Lisandro Martinez's hair pull red card is one of the worst decisions he's ever seen. But Simon Jordan says there's no excuses.
I mean, so if it's outlawed and you know you can't do it, which you probably didn't know because you wouldn't have bothered reading the rules, you only complain about them even though you don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Why pull his hair? So we all can talk about the ridiculousness of how it isn't really violent contact. It's come on, these are grown men.
Yeah.
But why pull his hair then?
Leeds are now 6 clear of Spurs in the bottom 3. Now, a supremely confident Rico Verhoeven's told talkSPORT he's going to do to Alexander Usyk what no other fighter has.
Knock his head off. That's what I'm going to do. I'm, like I said, I'm like 55 pounds heavier. Yeah. So as soon as I hit him, it's going to be something different.
The kickboxer takes on the heavyweight champion of the world at the Pyramids of Giza on the 23rd of May. You can watch the full interview with Jim and Simon on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. And England Test cricket captain Ben Stokes says it would be a massive overstatement to suggest he wasn't aligned with head coach Brendan McCullum on the Ashes tour of Australia. They appeared to take contrasting approaches during their 4-1 thrashing over the winter. England are looking to bounce back against New Zealand and Pakistan this summer.
The competition that all the big guns want to win.
Scalia. Continue his run, he's inside the penalty area, left-hand side. Doué doesn't need him, he's just walked it round the goalkeeper and side foots it in.
And they're so fun to watch. One thing is that they dominate possession.
Well, Liverpool been pulled all around.
If there's one thing clear, that we need our fans on Tuesday.
And Atleti have just gone 2-0 up, and it's Alexander Sorloth wants some Crystal Palace.
If they go into their shell, if they retreat, I think Barcelona are going to be able to pick them off. So really interesting second legs to come.
And Harry Kane is amongst the goals again.
If Real Madrid were to win the Champions League, for example, it would be one of the weaker Real Madrid teams of recent years.
And Vinicius through on goal, fires it into the bottom right-hand corner. Oh, here's the moment. They've done it. Kai Havertz in stoppage time. Arsenal are going to win in Lisbon.
They've gotten themselves into this position in the league, in the Champions League, through being really good, and they have to remember that they are very good.
Yep, couple of intriguing nights of Champions League football once again. We're around the grounds in kick-off tonight with Adrian Durham, Charlie Adam and Mickey Gray. All the goals as they go in at Anfield and beyond, also at the Metropolitano. And our next guest was joining us ostensibly to chat about that, but events have overtaken us a little bit because the Andoni Iraola news of the last half hour that he's going to leave Bournemouth when his contract expires at the end of the month means that's something we'll kick off with. Phil Kitramilides is a Spanish football expert. Hi, Phil.
Hi, guys.
So there's been an awful lot of talk in recent months about this return to athletic club for Iraola. And then there was the stories about Terzic the other day. I don't know if that's had any bearing on him going public at the moment. Is he still in the frame? Is Terzic favourite? What's the situation there?
Yeah, I would say the story from Terzic actually sort of surfaced a couple of weeks back, and then we haven't heard anything since. And Andoni Iraola is going to manage Athletic Club at some point in his career. 100% is going to happen. He's a huge legend there. He's sixth in their all-time appearance list. He's just, a massive, massive legend in Bilbao, and he's obviously going to manage them. Whether it's now, I'm not entirely sure, and it's more because of how good Andoni Iraola is and the drop-off that Athletic Club have had in the last sort of 18 months or so. So he will want to at some point. He knows that. I think it's just whether this is the right time. And I think in the back of his mind, he will realise, it's going to happen at some point. And maybe I don't need to do it right now when the side has clearly fallen away. Or maybe he'll feel like, actually I can galvanise these players and I can do it. And he'll feel like it's a good time. I'm not entirely sure. But I tell you who should get Andoni Iraola, by the way, if we're talking about Spain. Real Madrid.
Yes, that's an interesting shout.
They won't, but they really should. I don't think Arbeloa is going to be there next season. No. And Andoni Iraola is an amazing coach that's done some extraordinary things throughout his career. And I'd be fascinated to see Real Madrid play under him.
They don't want that in Real Madrid. Their players don't want that sort of. They had that with Xabi Alonso and they got rid of it.
Yeah,
they don't want that.
I mean, talking of Xabi Alonso, Alex Crook tells us that he understands that Bayer Leverkusen is showing an interest in Iraola, and that was the path that Xabi Alonso took, of course. It's true.
It's all a step down. I mean, he's done this great job for Bournemouth. Surely now the world is his oyster. I mean, he's United, Newcastle, the big Premier League
his stock is high. We were saying earlier on, though, Phil, that with Bournemouth, he's allowed to get on with a job. They've got this whole structure in place, great recruitment. And we often see managers go from those environments, a bit like Thomas Frank at Spurs, where it's a bit of a basket case and there isn't that support structure, and they don't work quite as well. So I think he'll be aware of that, won't he?
He's a really, really sharp guy as well. I think he's very shrewd as well, and he will take the choice of his next club. He will know what he's getting into as well. Remember, he came from a small club in Madrid, Rayo Vallecano, massively overachieved with them. But then again there weren't really any expectations for them to do anything, and he overachieved. Went to Bournemouth, weren't massive expectations there, has completely overachieved. So he will know that the next step, the next club that he goes to, he will be going into a panorama which is actually maybe he's never worked under before, where he is expected to be challenging for trophies every single season.
I mean, the thing is, they still have the Basconi policy, I take it, Athletic Club, don't they? So you're very limited to the pool of talent you can call on. Maybe it could be a case of just, maybe, I don't know if it's a family thing. You maybe know better than me, the opportunity to go home, manage a club you love. I mean, they're mid-table this season. I mean, he's not going to win La Liga with them, is he? I mean, what can he achieve with the team?
Or he can win cups. They could win sort of Europa Leagues. They could go far in Europe. They can do that kind of stuff. I think La Liga is possibly off the table in terms of challenging. But like I said, they've still got players like Nico Williams. They've got Iñaki Williams. They've got Oyan Sanse, Alex Berenguer. They've got a good core of players there that have wildly underachieved this season. So he might be looking at them and thinking, you know what, actually, I can get something out of these players. And actually, I feel like they are players that could buy into his philosophy. So maybe he will fancy it, but he is someone, of course, before he went to Rayo Vallecano, spent time in New York, learned English. He is someone, he's got an open mind, shall we say, and maybe he's not quite ready yet. He's still young. Maybe he's not quite ready to come back home. Maybe he wants to explore the world a bit more.
And he wouldn't have a problem managing another Spanish club. I mean, you said Real Madrid would want him. There'd be a bit of snobbishness about that. You don't go from Bournemouth to Real Madrid in their eyes, I'm guessing.
There'd be snobbishness around the Real Madrid fans, I'm sure. And, and maybe even the Real Madrid hierarchy is probably not even on the shortlist. That's just me putting it out there here on this Tuesday afternoon. But, seeing what I've seen from Real Madrid and what I've seen at Andoni Iraola, I think it would, football-wise, could be a good fit. It's it's not going to happen. He probably wouldn't go to Real Sociedad, who are athletic clubs, big rivals. But apart from that, I think anything else would be on the table.
We're all putting flyers out there. Andy just said if Arsenal don't win anything, he can go to Arsenal next season.
And Simeone,
Spurs would have loved him. To be honest,
they would.
Yeah.
I think that ship may have sailed.
He turned it down.
Yeah,
and Simeone may be available. He may not be at Atletico Madrid next year, so that job might be available.
Well, we say that every year.
Yeah, that's true. Could this be the year? Why? I've read a few sort of pieces recently thinking this could be the end of the road. Yeah, what's different?
Nothing. No, nothing's really changed. Genuinely, there's no real reason for us to think that the only thing that I could think of is that if they actually win the Champions League, he might think, right, that's it. The cycle is closed. I came very close twice and now I've actually achieved it. Go out on a high like that. But, he's been there since December 2011. There's nothing to make me feel like nothing's changed. He's still played unbelievably well. Still has all the control that he has. He has the side challenging. They're in the cup final on Saturday against Real Sociedad. They've got this quarterfinal tonight against Barcelona. They've let things drop off in the league because they've prioritised the cup competitions in the second half of the season. But there's nothing to make me feel that Diego Simeone is going to go at the end of the season from what we've seen. Like I said, if they win the Champions League, then that might be in his head thinking, you know what, I've completed my work here. But otherwise, I don't see it happening.
Fascinating game tonight. The first leg was really interesting and Atletico did well, really, but they got fortunate, didn't they, when Barca went down to 10 minutes.
And it's how they approach it tonight, Phil, isn't it? Is it going to be old school Simeone that sort of S-houses his way through the next round? Or because the Barcelona players they all sound very confident they can go there and get something. We're in that little package there. Do they get on the front foot and get another goal and maybe kill the tie off? Or do they sit on it and defend and make it difficult and spoilers?
So, what makes this even more interesting is that we had Barcelona against Atletico Madrid in a two-legged tie in the Cup semi-finals about a month ago, and Atletico Madrid won 4-0 the first leg, and then Barcelona won 3-0 the second leg. And everyone was saying, how Atletico are going to approach it. Is there any chance of a comeback? And they really sat deep in that second leg. And Simeone afterwards said, that wasn't the plan. It's just that Barcelona didn't let us come out. They were all over us. They pressed us so hard, and they didn't let us play how we wanted to play. So it's almost intrinsic, isn't it, to sit back when you've got a lead, and particularly this time they're at home. In the Cup they had to go to the Camp Nou, and Barcelona came flying out the blocks, and they won 3-0, and they could have almost turned it round. This is a little bit different, but maybe playing at home actually changes the scenario a little bit, in so much as we've got our fans here. We've got to try and take the game to them, knowing that if we score, they've got to get 3. That said, Barcelona are pretty much averaging 3 goals a game this season anyway. So in the back of their heads, and a lot of Barca fans that I've spoken to and Barca journalists, they're like, Barca are going to concede tonight. We're going to concede tonight. It's going to happen. So Barca are going to have to score 3. These games, by the way, have just been ridiculously entertaining over the last 2 seasons. I haven't been looking forward to a game as much for a while. This it really should be very, very exciting.
What about Rafinha? Because he was a massive miss for Barcelona in the first leg.
Yeah, and he's still not available. And if you look through the games. If you look through the games that Barcelona have lost this season, I think they've lost 8 or 9 in all competitions. Rafinha's only started 1 of those games. So he is absolutely vital to how they attack, but also how they defend. The first line of defence with the high press. Can I just say, look, it's talked about Barcelona's high line, and people say it's very suicidal way of defending, but not so many people talk about the way that it actually allows them to play attacking wise. They squeeze up the amount of balls that they rob high up the pitch and launch attacks because they're squeezing up and because they're playing so high. So yeah, it does allow people to run in behind you defensively, but in terms of the attack, that's why they score so many goals. They press so high up the pitch, they recover the ball so high up the pitch, and that is all part of Hansi Flick's philosophy. Whether he drops it, and in the first leg I think we saw they weren't playing quite as high. I know they went down to 10 men, but they weren't playing quite as high. Let's see what they do tonight.
Yeah.
And they've got to go for it and score.
Excellent. Enjoy the game, Phil. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Anytime.
That's Phil Kitramalides there, Spanish football expert. You'll be kept in touch with that one. All the goals they go in across the Champions League, Women's World Cup qualifier, the Championship and beyond. Adrian Durham is your ringmaster for that. This
a lot of channel hopping tonight, I think.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of eyes on Julian Alvarez as well, because he's been linked to Barcelona, isn't he, for next season. So there's a huge in-depth preview of the Champions League quarter-final second legs. You can check out the latest episode of the talkSPORT Daily podcast with Angelina Kelly and European football expert Kevin Hatchard. Find it wherever you find your favourite podcasts. Wisden is out, the Cricket Bible, of course, the Almanac for 2026, and the editor, Lawrence Booth, as he always does, is popping into the studio. We're here with Toolstation. Get home spring ready with great deals on top paint brands like Dulux, Crown and Leyland. Next up, Toolstation.
It's going to be some summer of change, isn't it, for Liverpool?
Again, yeah, massive. It's. Do
you think Slot might be part of that summer of change?
No chance. Honestly, I don't say that lightly, but the amount of Liverpool supporters I know are on the same page. The hierarchy aren't daft. They're not stupid. Finishing 5th for Liverpool, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. Irrelevant of the mitigating circumstances.
It might get you Champions League.
Well, it will, and financially that's good, but where they're at is nowhere near. They're nowhere near it. They're only going to probably only get 5th because of other teams failing below them.
How many times did you play for Liverpool? You got a rough ballpark figure?
240, 250.
240, 250. So you must have the absolute utmost admiration for Andy. 373 appearances for the club. He came for 8 million from Hull.
Yeah, but the respect comes from not only his longevity, it's the level of his performance during that period. His numbers are phenomenal, and he's been. I think he's been underrated. I don't think he's ever, in all the success Liverpool have had. Yes, there's times where he's had some plaudits, but it's more been Trent.
Yeah,
you know, the front three on the Klopp, all that's the Henderson, the captain, fantastic. Robbo's gone under, and there's the other thing as well. Last thing on him, it's no coincidence Virgil hasn't been himself because he hasn't had Robbo.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion?
That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT, returning to that news from the Premier League that Andoni Iraola will be leaving Bournemouth at the end of the season. A bit later on in the show, we turn to cricket now because the 163rd edition of the Wisden Cricketer's Almanac, the Bible of cricket, is out once again. That familiar small format with a bright yellow cover. And the editor, as always, making his 15th appearance with us. He never writes, he never calls. Once a year we see him. It's Lawrence Booth, the editor. Good afternoon.
Thank you for having me again.
There you go. Great pleasure. The The Martin Tyler's just been complimenting. He's just sent a message to Andy, a fine commentator, compliment you on the notes from the editor. You've gone in 2-footed on the Ashes, haven't you? And England's very poor show in it.
Yeah, there wasn't really another perspective to take. That was the only real tackle you could have implemented on them. I mean, what do they call them? Feckless, reckless, and legless performance. They went out there with hopes high of winning the Ashes back. Hadn't won them since 2015. Lots of Australian bowlers injured. They were in charge of that first test, weren't they, at lunch on the second day? 4 hours later, they'd lost the match and they never really recovered from there. So it was a great disappointment.
Very sad. I do, though, take slight issue with you about the 5 cricketers of the year, 4 of them being from the... I know that it reflects the summer of 25. But I thought that series, England more than held their own. India were quite lucky to draw that series. If Wokes, who's on the cover, hadn't been injured, I think England would have won that game.
Yeah, I think they would have done.
Then would it be right to put in 4 people from their side when it was only a drawn series? I couldn't quite get that.
You always have to bear in mind that you can only win that award once. So please throw names at me from the England team who should have won that.
And they've probably already been in.
Most of them had already won. I mean, Josh Tongue was probably the closest, who did reasonably well, but not well enough from my point of view to win a Cricketer of the Year award. Weirdly enough, the Indian players, sort of a few of them performed brilliantly, individual performances. England were a bit more of a team effort. I mean, both teams could have won that series, couldn't they?
Yeah,
it was a great series.
England chased 3-7-1 to win the first test at Headingley. India may think we should have won that game. England defended 190 odd at Lords. India should have won that game.
That's what made the Ashes so disappointing, because I thought they did play well, and everybody was that last morning. The cover for a Monday morning with such a short amount of cricket, it was incredible. It showed the power of Test cricket that more than anything, I think.
That's right, yeah. And the Indian fans at the ground, it felt like a home fixture for India when Siraj, one of our cover stars, took 3 of the last 4 wickets there.
Yeah, the cover is Chris Wokes with his arm. It did feel like a bit of a defining image of the summer, didn't it? Going out to bat with his arm in a sling like that.
It was a great act of heroism, wasn't it? He walks, people were wondering whether he's going to come out to bat. He suddenly appears at the top of the pavilion steps. England needs 17 to win. He's the last man. His left arm is in a sling, hoping to God he doesn't have to face a ball, because it looked painful just for him taking singles. And in fact, they got to within a 6 hit of tying the game and therefore winning the series, but it wasn't to be. But incredible courage from Wokes.
I remember Colin Cowdrey doing something similar in 1963.
Really? Arm in a sling?
Arm in a sling, but he didn't have to face a ball.
He didn't. Like Wokes, he didn't have to face a ball.
Yeah, so 4 Indian cricketers among the 5 cricketers of the year, but you've gone in on some concerns you have around Indian cricket and the sort of politicisation, the political influence of cricket in India and therefore world cricket as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid it's a sort of common theme in these editors' notes, really, but the politicisation of the Indian game is getting worse, I would say. The ruling BJP have sort of cottoned on to the propaganda power of cricket, and they are milking it for all it's worth. The Asia Cup last year, the Indian captain Surya Kumar Yadav refused to shake hands either before or after their games against Pakistan. Shook hands in private. This is a performative gesture, wouldn't do it in public, and that kick-started a whole train of tit for tat, which culminated in Pakistan threatening to pull out of their World Cup game against India in Colombo. So as long as cricket is politicised, we're going to have these kinds of problems.
And there was a feeling that, yes, they're probably the best team and they won that tournament. They kind of gerrymandered everything. Everything was in their favour, wasn't it, to win that tournament?
Well, there was the Champions Trophy that they played all their games in the UAE last year. There was certainly some gerrymandering going on there. Look, the feeling has long been that India says jump and the rest of the world says how high. They generate, we don't know the exact figure, probably 80% of the world's global revenue. So they may say that they're allowed to make these calls, but a few of us feel that it's gone a bit too far in one direction.
Some nice things, though. Derek Pringle celebrating the life of Dickie Bird, who was such a great character, wasn't he? And a great loss to the game.
Yeah, an incredible umpire. Amazing that after he retired, he wrote his autobiography, sold over 1 million copies. Yeah. This was a cricket umpire who'd never played for England, for goodness sake. I mean, he almost rose above the best players of the year in terms of popularity. And Derek tells some nice stories about how if you were a bowler, you did not want Dickie making decisions because he never gave LBWs. Unless Derek remembers a time Dickie gave him out in a B&H final in 1983 and couldn't believe it, having turned down so many appeals off his own bowling down the years.
And Matthew Engle's Rest of the News is always fun, all the sort of odd things that happen around the world of amateur cricket as well as professional cricket.
Have we got any standouts this year? You know we like those, Lawrence.
Oh, well, the Index of Unusual Occurrences. Yeah, yes. There's always stuff. Let me think. They had There was a game in Pakistan, 4 wickets in 3 balls.
Wow.
Now, so I'll talk you through that.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
First 2 guys gets out legitimately, and then the third bloke is in such a rush in the pavilion, he doesn't make it out in time. He's timed out, so he never faces a ball. Then the next guy comes in for what is actually the hat-trick ball, because the timed out wicket doesn't go to the bowler. He's out. So 4 batsmen have gone in the space of 3 legitimate deliveries.
Wow, that's like you are the umpire, isn't it? Kashif Ali appears in 2 matches at once. How did that happen? Do we know?
There are 2 Kashif Alis.
Okay.
Funnily enough, I'm afraid it's that boring an answer, but they were both playing county cricket that day, and they got confused by some of the cricket websites, which made it even more difficult to distinguish.
Captain's haircut sparks ill feeling.
Well, you'll follow the ILT20, I'm sure. Big T20 tournament in golf.
Oh, right.
Dubai against, I can't remember, 2 of the teams, and Sam Billings was captain of one of the teams, and he was supposed to go to a photo shoot before the game. Thought he'd go to a haircut instead, got lost, turned up late, and these 2 rival teams suddenly at loggerheads even more because of that.
Oh, wow. We spoke to these people who had the 8.5 metre set of stumps, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yeah. The record size set of stumps also feature. We're just about to watch some IPL, and we were telling all the listeners yesterday, if they haven't had the chance, go and watch young Vaibhav Suryavanshi play. 15 years old, just a ridiculous talent. And he got out first ball duck, so much for that. But he's definitely going to be. He's definitely going to feature in Wisden at some point, isn't he? He's a freak of nature.
He is. In fact, he's in the editor's notes because he scored 180 off about 70 balls in the Under-19 World Cup final against England earlier this year. Absolutely took them apart, took India past 400. He's going to be doing that to a lot of England bowlers in the next decade or so.
Yeah. Amazing. So it's out. Is it out today?
It's out on Thursday. Available at all good bookshops.
Lovely.
And the Bloomsbury website.
And it comes in various formats, doesn't it? Yeah, hardback, softback, and there is another version of it as well. Isn't there?
There's a bigger version if you're slightly.
It's Marcel Marseille mimes the whole book.
Yeah.
There's an ebook, so you can get the main front of book articles. Sort of.
Do people like the ebook? I mean, does it do all right? I mean, because there's something about the sort of actually tactile nature of the book.
We want people to buy the proper book.
Yeah.
Quite obviously. Stick it on your shelf and get a collection going.
That's right. And I'm sure a lot of you, Andy, you've got a fair old collection. We were mentioning our mate Justin Morehouse, who's got a massive collection as well. So, I mean, I'm sure. Wisden you've got a full original set, haven't you?
We do somewhere in the offices. I can't tell you where.
No, of course not.
I'd have to kill you. But I wish I had a full set of originals. I don't. But they are lucrative. If you get your hands on a full set of originals, you can retire early.
Fantastic. Wow. Lawrence, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks very much for popping in. Lawrence Booth there, the editor of Wisden Cricketers Almanac 2026, published and out on Thursday. Still to come this afternoon. We will be chatting to Oni and Danta. He's going to be on commentary duty this evening for the game between Pompey and Ipswich. We'll look at Saints in action as well. And we'll also be chatting to Gabriel Clark, head of the game between Liverpool and PSG this evening.
One thing I did think, though, was I looked at City at Chelsea yesterday, and when they stepped up a gear in the second half, I thought Cherky was fantastic.
Yes,
second
he was.
half as well. He gives you something totally different. But what I was going to say was the depth of that squad, that they can bring on Phil Foden and Savinho. They can leave Mamouche and Reinders sitting on the bench twiddling their fingers, you know.
Yeah.
I think that squad, Arsenal have got a great squad too, but I just think that squad depth could be the key in the end.
I wouldn't argue with that. That again, they were so impressive second half. I mean, Jeremy Doku, when I'm watching him, Jeff, and I love Liv, the way that every time he gets the ball, his first thought isn't to just step inside and drop it off to somebody else and then go wide again and I might get it back in a minute. Can I travel 20, 30, 40 yards with this ball? Can I beat my man? Can I get beyond him? Can I then produce something? And every single time he gets the ball, his first thought is to get at people and get beyond them. Love that from wide players.
I do love that from wide players because we don't see that enough from wide players. However, it is just his 8th Premier League goal in 4 years. Isn't that wild?
Is that
for someone like Jeremy Doku?
Yeah, really.
7 before yesterday.
Well, again, it's that's a really interesting stat. That is. But and again, for someone of his ability, he should be getting a lot more than that. But he's just such a dangerous player and tough. Malo Gusto is a decent fullback. He had a tough time yesterday.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
I'm Ben Fletcher. Good afternoon. Bournemouth will be on the lookout for a new manager this summer with confirmation that Andoni Iraola is making way. talkSPORT's chief football correspondent is Alex Crook.
It's a decision that he relayed to the powers that be. The Vitality Stadium during the international break didn't become public knowledge before that huge win against Arsenal at the weekend, so as not to distract from on-field matters. But Iraola will be leaving Bournemouth when his contract expires at the end of the season.
In a statement, the Cherries place on record their sincere thanks for his outstanding contribution. Former Dortmund boss Marco Rose has emerged as the leading contender to replace Iraola. talkSPORT understands Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna is another potential option. There's more on that story on the live blog at talksport.com. Next, a Leeds United club legend reckons that win at Old Trafford has staved off the threat of relegation once and for all. Former captain Gary McAllister has told talkSPORT they don't deserve to be in the battle of the bottom.
Their performance level has been above where the position in the league is. You know, as much as they're 6 points clear of the bottom three, I think they should be at least pretty safe by the next couple of games.
Next up for Daniel Farke's side, Wolves at home on Saturday afternoon. Defeat for the bottom side might be enough to relegate them if West Ham avoid defeat at Palace on Monday night. Live on talkSPORT. Tonight we take you around the grounds for all the goals as they go in, with a very close eye on Liverpool versus PSG. We're just hearing that Manchester United intend on appealing Lisandro Martinez's red card from last night, and Ben Stokes has played down suggestions of a breakdown in his relationship with Brendan McCullum. The England Test captain has admitted his partnership with the head coach will look a lot different this summer. 2 series against New Zealand and Pakistan are on the way. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The fallout from the Iran war will hit the UK more than any other of the world's leading economies, and a stark warning from a former NATO chief. The UK is underprepared for war. More from Sinead at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Our expert technicians can't do your spring cleaning, but they can keep your car's inbuilt safety tech in top nick. Visit quickfit.com and book today.
Sunny across northern and eastern areas. Across the southwest, cloud and rain moving slowly northeastward.
Paddy's Pick on talkSPORT with Paddy Power. Can you guess who's made the headlines this week?
18 plus, be gamble.aware.org.
Yes, it's time once again for Paddy's Pick in association with our official betting partner, Paddy Power. In Paddy's Pick, I'm asking Andy to identify a mystery sporting personality who's Paddy's Pick of the Week. Andy's going to get 5 clues to work out who it is. We'll start with £50 in the pot. Okay. And for every clue that we use without a correct answer, £10 will get taken away. Paddy's Pick, all for charity. We're raising funds for Duchenne UK. So, Andy, are you ready?
I am. It's quite hard, this. You either know it straight away or you need about 10 clues.
The first clue, I'm turning the page now. I have no idea what I'm going to find. Okay, I'll give you a fighting chance. This week's pick is a linchpin lioness on the verge of a major milestone.
Kira Walsh.
Absolutely correct.
Oh.
Probably one of the easier ones for you this week. She makes her 100th appearance, is expected tonight at Wembley against Spain. And we were chatting to Angelina about it earlier on. But when this competition was set, they didn't know that.
No, good.
Yeah, well, it's more important. It's 50 quid for the charity.
Excellent.
So the other clues were she started her senior career at Blackburn Rovers after progressing through the Girls' Centre of Excellence.
Kira Walsh.
Which you probably wouldn't have got. Well done. That's another £40. It doesn't work like that. Between 2014 and 2022, she's made 116 appearances for Manchester City, scoring 6 goals. March 22 became the second player to reach 200 appearances for them. After 3 years at Barcelona, joined Chelsea last season. With England, she's played in 4 major tournaments: 2019 World Cup, which they were 4th, 2023 World Cup, they finished as runners-up, and the 22 and 25 Euros, of course, which they won. And, yeah, good luck to her tonight. Congratulations, 100 caps for her. She doesn't like the fuss. I was hearing her say she's not really one for the limelight, but it is some achievement. So, yeah, Kira Walsh picking up 100th cap as an England international against Spain. I'm sure she'll have a busy night in that midfield, won't she?
Yeah, definitely.
So 50 quid raised for Duchenne UK this week, thanks to our friends at Paddy Power, official H&J betting partner, 18 plus only, begambleaware.org.
Paddy's Pick on talkSPORT with Paddy Power. Can you guess who's made the headlines this week? 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
We're going to have a chat with Mark Pugh, the former... he was a winger, wasn't he, Mark? Midfielder? Yeah.
Midfielder and fine chef.
Yes, a fine chef. Yeah, he's the foodie footballer now. We're going to have a chat with him and get his take. He's still well connected at Bournemouth and keeps a close eye on everything that goes on at the club. So we'll get his take on Iraola and the sort of profile of the next manager that could be coming in. Kieran McKenna is an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see that being a good fit potentially for them, but you know, he may have other fish to fry.
Well, it depends what Ipswich do in the rest of the season.
They're in action tonight. Ian Danter's going to join us a little bit later on to look ahead to their game against Pompey at Fratton Park, and Dance will be commentating alongside Perry Groves. In the meantime,
nice.
Yeah.
This is alarming news for customers of Pret-a-Manger.
Oh, yeah.
They're missing their favourite sandwich, which is a favourite sandwich. It's called jambon beurre.
Oh, I quite like the sort of ham and gherkins one.
Yeah, pickled cucumbers. They're cornichons.
Yeah.
And there's a world shortage of cornichons.
Well, I think we're all aware of the world cornichon shortage, aren't we?
I've written they should sign Dean Gherkin.
Yeah, that's it.
Why not? Bringing it back to sport.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I only put it in there for that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Of course.
I thought you were honestly worried about the great cornichon shortage. That is a first world problem and a half, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Everything else that's going on in the world.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing I'm worried about.
Hello, lads. Great. I just can't live without me cornish. I've been eating full-size pickles and it's just not the same. I've got very small hands, you see. Yeah.
There's a piece in, I can't work out which paper this was. I cut it out. It was a whole piece about, are meetings pointless?
Oh, yeah.
And my answer, yes. The answer to that.
You just wrote that down, did you?
Yes, they are pointless.
Oh, well, maybe a few of us should get together and discuss that at some point.
Good idea.
Did you see?
There are far too many meetings, I find, in organisations.
Yeah, I think most people who find their lives are full of meetings.
I remember I went from one company where we never had any meetings at all.
Yeah.
And then I got a job at this other new company. I won't name them.
No.
And every 5 seconds was a meeting. I couldn't believe it. I was thinking, what? And I can't get any work done. It's all... And they do love a meeting.
I imagine you
here,
took
let's
it.
be honest.
You took it in your stride like you do everything else.
Yeah, of course I did.
Did you refuse to go?
Well, I left after about 6 weeks to do this job.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't...
Fair enough. Well, what a great loss that was for the world of meetings.
Did I leave or was I sacked?
Did you see
That's
this?
An interesting question.
Adam Crafton from the Athletics sat down with Aurelio De Laurentiis.
Yeah, I didn't like that interview.
The owner of Napoli. I don't know if...
nothing to do with Adam. It was a good interview. But I mean, some of the things he said were bonkers.
I wonder if he sat down knowing that this was going to be the agenda. If you've missed it, he's talking about... He doesn't like red and yellow cards. Just wants sin bins instead. So do away with cards. 25-minute halves in a game of football. That's his other love. A new European Super Championship. US teams in the Champions League. He did have a few interesting ideas, as Adam pointed out. He doesn't like all these sort of long pre-season tours where people fly halfway around the world, and I think a lot of fans would probably
agree with that.
Agree with that, yeah. But
I think that's bad for injuries as well.
He's probably gone in with some fairly nuts ideas. But I mean, being part of the De Laurentiis family, I'm surprised that you can't bring on a 45-foot gorilla at any point and let it fight with an aeroplane on top of the Empire State Building. He's not gone down that route.
Now, you always accuse me of getting too angry about nothing, and I agree. I do tend to get angry about absolutely nothing. But I can't beat Dave, who wrote to the Star with this one.
Not the rap artist, Dave. Just a bloke called Dave.
Dave from Coppell. I don't know where that is. Not Steve Coppell.
Not Steve Coppell.
COPPULL. Where's that in the country?
I'll look it up while you're ranting like Dave.
Dave says, I've never ever not. That's a strange way of putting it. I've never ever not used the handle of a cup when drinking. Wow. Any TV presenter who does not use the handle is scum. Pond life.
Really? Wow. Pond life.
There's a kind of overreaction there to something that's not surely that important.
It's near Chorley. It's in the borough of Chorley. It's a village in Lancashire. So
if you go around Dave's for a cup of tea,
make sure, if you find yourself in the Coppell area or in a caff, even in Coppell Caff.
Don't they run South American football?
They do, Coppell Caff, yeah.
They do.
So the last thing you want to do, is if he sees you, he'll just stand up and call you scum and pond life. And the last thing you need when you're going for a lovely village.
I'll give you a quick Brian Limford letter.
Okay, yeah.
There's always one.
Mm-hmm.
He says here, Brooklyn Peltz Beckham, brackets 27, thank you very much for that, has 100 tattoos. His favourite is his wife, Nicola, brackets 31, on his upper arm. Attached at the hip, a strong bond, and us, for no reason at all in capitals, against the world vibe, like or loathe the highly public affectionate relationship many may have experienced similar or wish they had. His family should live, /let live. Why /?
I was thinking about this.
Both are obviously besotted.
You read a Brian Limford out every day, and it did strike me that... Are you writing them?
No.
Is it?
No, I can't get them published now. They block me. I had that whole thing. I had a great run. I've got them all listed.
Makes you sound like you played in the majors at baseball.
Well, I wrote them. I was very proud.
You were writing letters to the Star,
but in the style of the Star. And that was the whole point, to get them published.
So you think, having got the voice,
the most ridiculous things,
is that a difficult voice to get than the voice of the Star? It probably is for a person like you.
I think I really got it, but then in the end, I noticed that they blocked me and my letters weren't getting through. I tried using the wife's phone.
I think it was probably the fact you were openly talking about it on national radio that may have given it away.
And I mentioned Ian Owen of Wallington in Surrey yesterday. Doesn't ever add anything to...
Is he back?
He's back. He was back last week. He said, I hope the Champions League second leg clash between Bayern Munich and Real Madrid is just as entertaining as the first.
Yeah.
Bayern's 2-goal win, thanks to Harry Kane and Luis Diaz, was brilliant. Well, maybe it was 2-1.
Yeah.
He obviously turned off before Madrid scored.
Right. Well, he was too busy writing that letter.
He couldn't wait to get it in, you're right.
Yeah.
So there we are.
You were talking about the great flaw of Mastermind. I did point out you were about 30 years and about 50-odd series
Very true, yeah.
Chuddy says the flaw of Mastermind is that you can narrow down your chosen topic to the nearest or even hour, i.e. questions on Arsenal versus Manchester United, April the 10th, 1954, in the 85th minute. In the celebrity ones, they're a bit of a narrow band.
Yeah,
you might get an episode of Friends. Questions on the one about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They let them away on the
There's no question. Certain subjects are easier to specialise in. When there's sometimes you think people are mad. They go for something that's got so many different elements to it. Then then it's very hard. But
Quinton's been in touch.
Oh yeah.
If someone pulled your hair during a game, you wouldn't be happy. What if I was sitting
Look at me.
in front of them? They'd have to get some tweezers to do Andy's. It'd be like
it's tweezers one hair out of my head.
That's it.
I go for a red card. That'd be good.
Red all day. Says Quinton. I'm guessing is a Leeds fan.
I haven't had a chance to do that. Have you ever seen this? It's a correspondence between a girl that knew Prince Harry before he was married, and Prince Harry describing himself as Facebook user. This came out in the recent case, and I haven't had a chance to do this.
Are you happy reading it?
Oh, I'm happy reading it, yes.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
There's no element about this. This is
it's in the public domain, is it? Okay, well, when you're in the tower, Andy, I'll remind you.
No, it's only because I love the tone, the way she does it. H-Bomb, she calls him.
Right.
That's great, isn't it?
That's a great nickname.
H-Bomb. We missed you so much at Arthur's.
You can call me that if you like from now on.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
We missed you so much at Arthur's last week. Arthur?
Yeah.
Skip cracked out some serious move. Anywho, after some shooping in Val D.
Shooping?
That's what it says here, shooping.
Wow.
In Val D and Maribel, that's Val d'Isère.
Yeah.
I've arrived in Closters. Of course you have. and have been watching some Centre Barley snow polo. Does that mean you're here and I can dominate you off the black run / steal one of your boots?
It's a different world, Andy, that they live in, isn't it, really?
I won't bother to read through it.
It's very much a different world.
I've just arrived shopping in Val d'Isere and Maribel.
Yes. Now,
not something I do that often.
The big football news of the day.
Oh, yeah, Anthony Iraola.
Not Anthony. I don't know who Anthony Iraola is.
Yeah,
that's his brother.
It's his brother.
Yeah, Anthony.
I mean,
maybe that's what we've got wrong. Maybe it's Anthony Iraola who's leaving.
It's not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's staying. No, he's not. He is. The club have confirmed Andoni and his brother. His brother Anthony will both be leaving the club. We never see much of Anthony. Let's leave it. I never see much of Anthony.
Tony.
But anyway, Tone. Yeah. Hello, lads. So, yes, he is leaving, and we thought we'd get a reaction from a former Bournemouth player, someone with connections still at the club, of course, a lot of old teammates. Some players, they're of course still there from his era. Mark Pugh, their former midfielder, will be joining us for a chat, giving us a reaction. Still interested to hear from you, Bournemouth fans. 03717223344, talksport.com/H&J. You can text to 81089 or tweet to TSH&J and tell us how you feel about this. I kind of guess they knew it was coming, didn't they, really? It was pretty obvious he wasn't going to sign a new deal. But it will be interesting to see where he pops up. I mean, our guest a little bit earlier on, Spanish football expert, was saying that Philly won't probably go to Athletic Club straight away. He doesn't need to. So potentially there could be another move in the offing. Leverkusen have been mentioned, Alex Crook tells us. So more on that with Mark Pugh in a few moments' time. We're here with Toolstation. Check out a wide range of garden power tools with brands such as Bosch and Ryobi. Next stop, Toolstation.
Do you think Arteta's too pragmatic, Simon? Is this going to be the difference as to who ends up winning it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he says to the players in the dressing room, but clearly I do think the coach's responsibility is if he's not actually kicking a ball, it's his responsibility to set the players up mentally and structurally to be able to do it in a fashion that produces the best outcome. And I use the word navigate at the beginning of this section because that's what I think Arsenal are trying to do. They're trying to navigate their way through games, not impose themselves on games, not take control of the game, not to be bold, not to be fearsome, fearless. Sorry, in their and their reaction to circumstances. Now, when they went away to Sporting, it was the perfect time to not be bold because they were trying to manage a European game, and they got praise from me last week, and people criticised them because it was considered to be a workmanlike performance. But a 1-0 away result in a European game is a good result. Now they'll bounce back tomorrow or Wednesday, whenever they're playing against Sporting, and produce an outcome again. I think everything will be revealed on Sunday when they play Manchester City.
The question is, they'll be bold then when they play City.
Oh no, they won't be daft. No. They'll do what they normally do. The question is, if Arsenal were 3 or 6 points behind City when they played Bournemouth at home at the weekend, what would they have done different? Yeah. They would have committed. They'd have played quicker, more urgency. They would have got more men forward earlier in the game. They would have gone after them.
Feels like Arsenal have something to lose rather than something to win.
Well, it's a bit like Rory with a six-shot lead, wasn't it? Yes. That dwindled on day 3.
Yeah. So that begs the question then, who are Arsenal's biggest opponents in this title race? Manchester City or themselves?
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
You know, we don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology. How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Andy Goldstein, Darren Bent with you at 4 o'clock with another drive, building up to all the Champions League football tonight. So we're around the grounds in the Championship because we've got live football in the Championship. Pompey Ipswich this evening. Ian Danter joining us later on to look at that one, and Saints Blackburn as well. But before that, the big news from the Premier League today is that Andoni Iraola is leaving Bournemouth. It's now been confirmed by the club. Alex broke the news at around 2 o'clock today. Let's get reaction from someone with Bournemouth connections, is their former midfielder and the foodie footballer these days. We often chat to him about that on Instagram and more. Mark Pugh. Good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're good, thank you. So, so what's your take on it? Did it come as a surprise or not?
No, I think with the contract situation dragging on for so long, I think he'd have signed it a little bit sooner than, we're at now. So it's really frustrating as a Bournemouth fan because he's done an incredible job. He's been there 2 years now, nearly managed over, nearly 100 games now, I think it is. And he plays such dynamic football. He's a great manager. And the recruitment's been fantastic because especially when you lose some big players in the summer like they did, Hudson, they lost Kirkes, they lost 3 out of the back 4. And to replace them and do what they've done again this season is testament to the way he does things.
I know you're still well connected there, Mark. I mean, how did it work? And was he involved in the recruitment? I mean, was he quite sort of front and centre of that, as far as you know?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, but I know the recruitment's been spot on. They've signed Rayan. They've signed some really good. I mean, Truthaire's come in and done really well at left back as well. I think Scott's a fantastic talent and he's just got the best out of them. I mean, whoever Bournemouth sign at the minute, they're young, enthusiastic. They want to do well for the football club. And I think he is going to move on, but I think he shouldn't take a club that's a sideways step, for example. I know Crystal Palace have been interested in him, but I think Bournemouth have got a better squad. And that's not me being biased. I think, they're just below the European places at the minute, and there's every chance the way they're playing that they're getting them.
You only leave a club like Bournemouth after his success to go somewhere, like United, I think, somewhere,
As we've been pointing out, though, the structure at Bournemouth has allowed him to succeed, and I'm sure he'd be the first to admit that, has played a part in it, and the good recruitment and the structure of the club and everything that goes with it, and the owner. You don't always get that at other clubs. You don't always get that at so-called, inverted commas, bigger clubs, do you, Mark?
No, he's been backed. I mean, they spent money in January. They've replaced players that they've lost, and a lot of owners just keep the money and want it in the back pocket. And that's not the case with Bournemouth. They invest. They've invested in the training ground and the infrastructure of the club's fantastic. And they're going. They're losing an incredible manager, but I believe, like the recruitment, they've probably got their eyes on a few managers at the moment, and they've got to get it right because it's a big season next year. Me being honest, I thought they'd really struggle this season with losing the players they had, but incredible how they've bounced back, and I'm sure they'll do it again with a new manager.
Some of the early names, Kieran McKenna, which you can kind of understand. That feels like a good fit. Marco Rosa was most recently at Leipzig, wasn't he? The German manager. He's been mentioned as well, former Dortmund coach. So they're just some of the names that are coming up, Mark.
Yeah, McKenna is obviously he's not got loads of Premier League experience at all, but I mean, he's young, he's enthusiastic, he plays good football. He's done a really good job this season, and I think it's about getting it right and being able to get a manager in who plays good dynamic football, front foot football. Bournemouth are brilliant when they're high pressing and they're putting teams under pressure, and they've got pace in wide areas as well. And I think if they get it right, then they can push on again next season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens now, and where he does go next, where Iraola goes next, whether he goes abroad. I mean, Germany's been mentioned, as we were saying earlier on. Alex Crook, our chief football correspondent, suggesting Leverkusen will be interested.
I think his agent's going to be very busy fielding calls.
Yeah, I think there's not going to be any shortage of takers, is there?
No, there'll definitely be a few in there, and I have been told he likes the London area. I don't know whether that's going to have an impact in his decision. You've got your likes of your Fulhams who, they'd probably jump at the chance to sign him. I know they've got a good manager at the minute. I don't know what's happening with Tottenham. Maybe a Tottenham if they manage to stay up, but they're looking like they're going down this season.
No, they're just going De Zerbi as well.
Yeah, I think they are committed to De Zerbi, and I think apparently he did turn it down before Thomas Frank went in. Seems to be the word.
Yeah, I mean, De Zerbi, I like him as a manager, and it'd be interesting to see. I think in Spain, is it Athletic he's been linked to, Athletic Club, and going back, that way, it'd really suit him. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend him to do a sideways step in the Premier League, like you mentioned.
He likes the London area.
Okay. Well, you've got a perfectly set up structure at Chelsea.
He just can't wait to work under that structure.
He could walk into that and not have any issues at all, I'm sure.
Not have any influence.
The Fulham thing.
They've just got a new manager, Chelsea.
Yes,
You've got a new manager there.
He won't be there very long. I think you'll find it'll be a very short appointment.
Nice house on the Thames there if he went to Fulham. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Marco Silva sort of moving on, new challenge and all that. And I'm sure Fulham fans, if we're Marco Silva, they wouldn't want to lose him. But if he were to leave, then I don't think they would be too upset about Andoni Iraola coming in if that was the case.
I think that's no disrespect to Fulham, but they're in a similar.
That's the sideways move. You think?
Sideways move.
Mark is talking about. Yeah. So I'm sure he'll choose very carefully and make sure he gets what he wants. Foodie footballer wise, Mark. Finally, what are you up to? You're still out there on Instagram doing your thing?
Yeah, lots going on at the minute. Lots of exciting projects, and going into businesses and football clubs and working one-to-one with clients, and lots of exciting things happening in the background, and really enjoying it.
You can go and find the foodiefootballer.com online, and say you find Mark on all the socials as well. Good to talk to you again, Mark. Thanks very much.
You too. Thanks for having me, lads.
Mark Pugh there, former Bournemouth midfielder. Our thanks to him. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. And if you need tweezers, and I'm your man, my name is AJ, and I run a business called Tweezer Man. Tweezers is what I do, says AJ.
Oh, Tweezer Man. I got a pair of Tweezer Mans.
Have you got a pair of Tweezer Mans?
Yeah, sensation.
Okay, fantastic. So you're a Oh, look at that! Well, there, Andy's using your product, AJ. Look, he's not like he's.
Remember,
I mean, this is not product placement.
Out of my ears. Do you remember that in Manchester United versus Liverpool? That was Tweezer Man.
That's quite turned my stomach.
The other thing is, I keep losing them. Do you know how many of these I've bought?
It's pink. I quite like the fact that you've gone for a pink one, Andy.
It's just because I've got all the other colours somewhere.
Okay, have you got like a flat case for them all?
I think I must have bought at least 10 of these things.
Okay, did you look at that? None of this. It's not like he's just suddenly done this. It obviously works. But I don't like the idea of you sharing with all as you pick 28 hairs out your ears. That's quite vile. Anyway, Ian Danter joins us next. He's going to be commentating at Fratton Park tonight.
He's got very smooth ears.
Yes, he doesn't need the Tweezer Man. He just he uses an industrial lawnmower. So, no, of course not. Dancer will be up shortly. He's going to look ahead to that game and Saints Blackburn as well. And talk a bit of darts because we've got the Luke Littler side of his spat with Jan van Veen, who's going to be on. Jan van Veen's going to be on Drive tomorrow.
Oh, is he? Oh,
so we've got a bit of tit for tat going on at the moment. But anyway, Luke Littler's given his side of it. Dan's, of course, one of our fine commentary team on the darts. So we'll get his take on that apart from the football. And you'll be kept in touch with those two games if you can't listen live on talkSPORT 2 with Adrian Durham and the gang from 7 on kickoff.
Let's talk about the Pards derby. Newcastle came to Crystal Palace. They went 1-0 up, but ended up losing 2-1. Mateta, who's had a good week for Palace, even though he wanted to leave at one point. He's happy to be there now, still kicking the corner flag, doing his thing for Palace, but...
Yeah, he's got this dream of, and he's got this goal to play for France. I mean, when you look, Cherki's French, and Matt, all the great players they got. I mean, it does look a long shot for him. But if you give him a chance, and he's timed it well, Glasner, he's put him in that European game. They've not been playing well, and he's come to the fore. And they wouldn't have won these two games without him. He's not just the way he plays, it's his personality. I think he's an infectious kind of personality.
Is he better than Dom Solanke?
No, I don't think so. But I think in terms of a presence and a personality in the dressing room, that might make up for a lot of his technical faults, if you know what I mean. But, you can't... He has definitely got minerals.
Delivers as well.
You can see when he takes penalties and stuff, he's out... I don't like to say he's having himself, but he is. And I like that. You need players who've got that about them. And great result for them. Newcastle take the lead, lose. And, one of the things about being manager of Newcastle is that result and that fact that they've turned over a lead again will be absolutely scrutinised to the finest detail and the local radio, local press up there, and nowhere for Eddie to go.
Bournemouth will be on the lookout for a new manager this summer with confirmation that Andoni Iraola is making way. talkSPORT's chief football correspondent is Alex Crook.
It's a decision that he relayed to the powers that be at the Vitality Stadium during the international break. Didn't want to become public knowledge before that huge win against Arsenal at the weekend, so as not to distract from on-field matters. But Iraola will be leaving Bournemouth when his contract expires at the end of the season.
In a statement, the Cherries place on record their sincere thanks for his outstanding contribution. Former Dortmund boss Marco Rose has emerged as the leading contender to replace Iraola. talkSPORT understands Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna is also a potential option. There's more on that story on the live blog at talksport.com. Now we're hearing Manchester United are appealing Lisandro Martinez's hair-pull red card from their loss to Leeds last night. Former Leeds captain Gary McAllister reckons that win at Old Trafford has staved off the threat of relegation once and for all.
As much as they're 6 points clear of the bottom three, I think they should be at least pretty safe by the next couple of games.
Tonight, we take you around the grounds for all the goals as they go in, with a close eye on Liverpool versus PSG. And Ben Stokes has played down suggestions of a breakdown in his relationship with Brendan McCullum. The England Test captain has admitted his partnership with the head coach will look a little bit different, though. 2 series against New Zealand and Pakistan await this summer.
Just before we talk Championship football tonight, it's competition time now, and it's a big one. We've got 2 tickets for the Wimbledon Lawn Tennis Championships on Monday, July the 6th, up for grabs. You'll be watching the world's best from official Wimbledon debenture seats on centre court. You'll also have exclusive debenture lounge access throughout the day. The perfect place to soak up the atmosphere between matches. Andy, how'd you win a fine prize like that?
I don't know. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close Thursday at 4 p.m. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus, UK residents only. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. So for your chance to win, text WIN to 83338 right now. Good luck. I won't be there.
Good luck. I know just because you don't like tennis, there'll be plenty of people lapping up those tickets. What a huge prize. So, around the grounds tonight, here on talkSPORT with Adrian Durham, Charlie Adam and Mickey Gray. Liverpool PSG, of course, Atletico Barca, the Women's World Cup qualifier, England v Spain at Wembley, and big games in the EFL, including in the Championship. Portsmouth versus Ipswich, which is our commentary game. Perry Groves alongside Ian Dante. And I'm guessing either at Fratton or on his way down is Dance. Good afternoon, Dance.
Hello, boys. How are you? All
Yeah,
right?
we're not so bad. We're not so bad, Dance. So, this is both games tonight are very interesting. Top and bottom, really, this one. So, I'm sure you've been doing your research. What sort of game should we expect?
Well, I was at the Riverside on Saturday when Portsmouth won with pretty much the last kick of the game against Middlesbrough. Absolutely priceless victory for Pompey. But, you know, they're still just hovering above the bottom 3, so they've got to get their home form right. They've only won one of their last 7. And then there's Ipswich, who are 9 unbeaten all of a sudden, beat Norwich on Saturday for the first time in 20 years at Carrow Road. So both sides are going into this one on a bit of a high pull, so this should be a really, really entertaining game.
We got all this Kieran McKenna chat today because of Iraola as well, so that'll be a bit of a backdrop to tonight, won't it, I would think.
If the Moose doesn't ask Kieran a question about that at the end of the game, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. He's been up in the Premier League with Ipswich. I wonder if it's that old thing of like wanting the challenge of doing it. He's kind of had that challenge. I wonder if the chance to go to Bournemouth and that infrastructure would be exciting for him.
I think it's exciting for a lot of managers. It depends on how much control the manager wants and how much he gets. If a manager's willing to cede a lot of control to, you know, people above technical directors, that sort of stuff, then jobs clearly like Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton are just tailor-made for people like that. Kieran Ipswich, I mean, that season in the Premier League wasn't great, although you sensed at one point that they might be able to be competitive and get out of it. But a scenario like Bournemouth may be entirely different to Ipswich Town. I think, as Andy said a little earlier on the show, it all depends on what Ipswich do this season as to whether Kieran's genuinely interested in this.
Yeah. Who are your favourites? I mean, look, Ipswich have got the points, and if they win tonight, they've got a fair bit of ground on Millwall. But, I mean, who do
Southampton are in great form.
Yeah, I mean, they are. They could be the Bolters, couldn't they? And we'll come on to them in a minute. But they could still nick that automatic place, couldn't they, easily?
They could, and they're 17 unbeaten under Tonderecker, you know, taking over from Will Still. who I seem to remember saying it was a long-term job to turn Southampton around, and in comes Tonderecker.
Yeah.
There were players who were there. You could see, like Finn Azaz and particularly Leo Cienza in midfield, their Brazilian attacking midfielder, that they had the talent. They've got Ross Stewart fit again, the Loch Ness Drogba. He's scoring goals again. They seem to be getting things together. Flynn Downs is getting regular football, which I'm pleased to see in the centre of midfield. He's a good player. They've probably got too much ground to make up for Automatic, as you two have both just suggested there, but I wouldn't want to face them in the playoffs the way they're playing right now.
No, that is very true.
How do you think Spurs will go in the Championship next season?
Well, look, we can't.
And then Chelsea the following season.
It's the elephant. It's the elephant in the room,
welcome you to St Andrews next season. Look forward to welcoming you to the Mecca of Midlands football for the first time in a while, Paul.
So let's scare the living daylights out of the Spurs fans. Let's say the unthinkable happens. And I was chatting earlier on to Chris Hughton about this. The kind of relentlessness of the Championship. The Saturday, Wednesday. It's you're not in Kansas anymore, Toto, are you?
No, but I was chatting with Matt Murray about this on Sunday when we did the Birmingham Wrexham commentary at lunchtime on talkSPORT 2, and I'm just thinking Spurs would romp the Championship if they've got anything about them. I know you're worried about the characters that are there, and you've made your point very clear on yesterday's show, but club of the stature and the reach of Spurs should have it within them to get it right and get assuming players like Archie Gray and Jed Spence and those who have had positive seasons stick around, then you should romp the Championship, Paul. But it is a grind. It is something that can catch some players out. I can't see Christian Romero pitching up at Lincoln on a Tuesday night, personally. It's going to be a great test for you because what was it, 1977? Last time you were down at that level?
Yeah.
Changed a bit.
I quite enjoyed that season, actually. It was just as a one-off, and then he kind of scraped out the league then. It's just, you look at teams like Stoke and Blackburn who are playing tonight, and it can be, look, not everybody bounces back, even with the resources, even with the parachute payments. There are no guarantees, are there?
Stoke is a perfect example because I don't think they've finished above 14th since they got relegated from the Premier League. So they've not even had a season where they've ended up mounting a serious playoff challenge. They started this season well, oddly enough, under Mark Robbins, but they've slipped away. Look at Coventry. They became almost becalmed at Championship level after they first went down from the Premier League 25 years ago. Then they went all the way down, right the way down to, League Two. Mark Robbins built them up, and now Frank Lampard's got them at the verge of being back in the Premier League. So it's been a long old road. There are exceptions to that rule. There have been the yo-yo clubs in recent times, Paul, like I think of Norwich and I think of West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah.
So it can be done, first time of asking, but you need people of the right mindset in order to do that.
Well, look, it hasn't happened yet. I'm going to be a bit more positive. I thought I'd sound you out.
It's not over yet. It's going right the way
Sound
down.
you out just in case. Now, onto the darts. And Jan van Veen, who's had this fallout with Luke Littler, and Luke Littler saw getting booed down in Brighton the other day, getting a lot more clog. I mean, he gets a bit of panto booing, but that seemed to be on another level, really. They've had this fallout that we all saw with a kind of crying gesture. Luke was having his say on it. So we'll hear from Jan van Veen on Drive tomorrow. You do the darts for us, Dan. What have you made of all this?
I get a sense of mountains and molehills here. With this, it's certainly not a flashpoint on the stage in the style of what Adrian Lewis or Peter Manley used to pull. And Adrian was a very combustible figure, and hopefully he can find his way back into big time darts because I know he's starting to play competitively again, Jackpot. But I think that whole, the crying eyes thing and the very limp handshake at the end of that game wasn't great to see. But I think a lot more's been made out of it than I think is actually true to say. Remember, Luke and Jan have come up through the youth ranks and they know each other inside out. They've been playing darts against each other for 5 or 6 years now to the youth development. They played a World Youth Final not that long ago. So they're well aware of each other's personalities and foibles. I think this one will get smoothed over fairly quickly. What does interest me is the, as you mentioned, Paul, the Littler boo effect, how quickly things can change. I find it a real head scratcher.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I think there's a lot of sort of the herd who sort of go along with one or two that think it's a good idea, but Luke has been incredible for this sport. There's no other word for it. And to try and dilute that or to try and hurt that just leaves me wondering why. He'll be there at Premier League finals night, I would imagine, in May at the O2, and we'll be there with talkSPORT for that finals night. And I've no doubt Luke will be front and centre. And by that time, I would hope all this nonsense will have died down.
Luke says he's going to have a chat with him on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't imagine it, because, I mean, there was a story meant, they didn't practice together last Thursday. Well, there's a reason for that, because there's 2 practice boards in different rooms and you get 4 players to a board. And when Luke turned up, I think he was one of the later players to turn up that night. Kian was already on a board with 3 other players. So Luke couldn't go and practice with him. He had to go and practice on the other board. So it seemed a little bit a story being built up around absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure they will have a chat and they'll smooth it all out. You know, and if it was Cliff Lazarenko and Joggy Wilson, it would probably light one another cigarette on the stage if we were going back to the 1980s. Next, there'll be hands of friendship being passed out. But no, I think there's a lot less to this story than is being made out currently.
It's all good panto, so it gets people watching and listening.
It gets people talking about the sport, I suppose, which is no bad thing.
Good point.
Well, sell out the Pompey Sailor for us, Dan. All the best. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, ta-ra, boys.
There we are. They're seeing Dan. He's going to be at Fratton Park tonight for that game. Keep you in touch with Saints Blackburn as well.
So much good football on.
Yeah, some cracking games. Top and bottom of the Championship, those matches, and Champions
Women's
League.
International, Champions League, yeah. Mate.
So tune in to Adrian Durham and the team from 7 o'clock on kickoff and get your calls into the sports bar after all tonight's games. We're going to continue chatting Liverpool versus PSG. Gabriel Clark will be on duty, as he was in Paris last week for the game at Anfield, and he's going to be joining us for a chat in a few moments' time. We're here with our very good friends at Tool Station. Get your toolbox essentials this spring. Big savings on screws and fixings. Next stop, Tool Station.
Abby Summers, it is Sunday, April the 12th. Your football club, Tottenham Hotspur, are 18th in the Premier League.
Why is he crying now? I tell you what, if they could all just stop crying and actually start have they only just realised? Like this is what is annoying me. This is what is annoying me. I've seen Romero cry. I've seen Mickey van der Ven cry. Where has that been all season? Has it just occurred to you, with 7 games to go, now 6 games to go, that you are sending this football club down? The captain, now you're crying. You weren't doing that when you was getting yourself sent off and missed 7 games this season. Mickey van der Ven couldn't one-on-one defend for weeks on end. We sat here and watched. Now you're crying because you realise that you're going to get relegated. Is that what I'm watching here? When none of you have given 1 ounce of a toss the entire season. They've looked like they've been so arrogant about it. When they was walking off and just missing Thomas Frank. Didn't care, showing up late to training, which has been well documented from my club captain. Now you're sitting there and you're crying because you know that it's your backs are really against the wall, boys. You've got absolutely no quality in you. This is what is infuriating to me. It's now fully hit you. The arrogance about them is disgraceful. When people have sat there and they've said, well, Tottenham are too good to go down, you won't get pulled into it. We've slept-walked into this situation. The board slept-walked into it and had the arrogance about that, not bringing anyone in January.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. Been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology. How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Yeah, it should be a lively sports bar tonight with all the big games. You would argue biggest of all, of course, from a Premier League point of view, is Liverpool looking to turn things around against PSG. It could have been a whole lot worse, and PSG may end up kicking themselves, and they're going to need the crowd on it this evening.
Liverpool will have to put in their best performance of the season, and PSG will have to put in their worst, basically, I think, for it to change.
It's as stark as that, is it?
Well, I think it is. I can't. Having watched them destroy Chelsea, they're such a brilliant team. So, we'll
Gabriel Clark will be there for Amazon Prime. He watched it all unfold last week in Paris. He's back at Anfield tonight. Hi, Gabriel.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Yeah. Good, thanks. So, Andy, spelling it out then. You need a great performance and possibly a really below par one from PSG's point of view.
Well, look at the stats from last week. Liverpool, no shots on target, 26% possession. So, they've got to swing that round, haven't they? That's the sort of first challenge for the manager. And I think it's also infusing belief because of that. And after the game in Paris, Arne Slot said we were in survival mode. And I think some of those comments he was asked about yesterday, that there has to be this belief among the team. And we've spoken to Jordan Henderson and Graham Souness ahead of this, two guys who've been part of obviously great European Cup winning teams at Liverpool, and they both said that basic belief has to be there. So I think heading into Anfield tonight, and if there is an early setback, the question will be, have Liverpool got that fundamental belief? But Arne Slot, I think, has, the tactics will change. He will adjust his system, and he has this wild card, this fascinating wild card, I think, about what to do with Rio Ungamoa. And how much of an X factor this 17-year-old can bring too.
We've got a bit of an issue with your line, Gabriel, so we're going to play a bit of Dominic. Yeah, a bit of Dominic Sober's line. We'll try and sort that line out, and we'll keep talking about it because we know you've done a special piece on Mo Salah tonight. But anyway, let's hear from Dominic Sober's line, the build-up to this game.
That we're going to go all in. We're going to give our best from the minute one until the minute. Hopefully 90, because it can be enough, but maybe if it goes even more, 120, 125. So I'm ready to die on the pitch tomorrow. I think I can speak from all of the players because we want it so bad, we worked for it so bad, and there in one game everything can happen in Anfield.
That's Dominic Sobersley there. How they
For me, though, the Anfield crowd only come into it if Liverpool score first. If they can score first and score early, then the atmosphere could help them massively.
The game management, Gabriel, is difficult, isn't it? Because, you commit, you don't overcommit because we know how devastating they are on the break, PSG, and at 3-0, it could well be game over. So it's a real balancing act tonight, isn't it?
It's that risk-reward balance, and I mean, Arne Slot is a pragmatic manager. He's not somebody who's necessarily going to be playing into the emotion of the occasion and the build-up to this. He won't be plugging into that first and foremost as why we're going to win this game. He'll be looking closely at the tactics, and I think it will be fascinating to see what he does with Mo Salah, who played well at the weekend. And of course, every game now for Mo Salah could be his last for Liverpool in the Champions League. And he's their record goal scorer in this competition. He so much wants to be involved now. So will Slot go for it? Play Salah and Ungamoa and Ekatike, and drop Szoboszlai back, play Wirtz as well. I think that the initial selection will be fascinating. Or does he say, well, let's hang on, let's stay in there, and let's use Isak and Salah as sort of finishers. If the game is close, keep the game close. I think his initial selection will say a lot about how he hopes the game will pan out, maybe in terms of just getting that foothold to get the comeback.
You've put a piece together, Salah's last stand this evening, which you mentioned Jordan Henderson, Graham Souness involved as well. And it would be some story if he could, in light of what's happened in the last couple of weeks, he can have a big say tonight.
Yeah, and Jordan Henderson certainly is full of belief that his old mate can do that. And I think we also got a sort of consensus among Liverpool supporters at the weekend. And there is still so much faith in Salah, despite what's been a very difficult season for him. And I think that is it's the sort of poetry about all this. Salah's last stand, and end like Souness did. Souness's last game for Liverpool was the Champions League European Cup final in 1984. It can happen that an outgoing star goes out with a happy ending.
Yeah, it's not going to, then.
You can't see it,
I'm
Andy?
trying to make you believe, Andy.
Absolutely no chance, in my view.
Really? Yeah. Just because of the way Liverpool have been playing?
Liverpool aren't that brilliant, and they're the best team in Europe. So,
It's just...
What would you imagine will happen?
They're such a great counter-attacking side. You cannot see them not scoring, so you do feel Liverpool are probably going to have to score 4, Gabriel.
Yeah, I think that's true, but they do have... as strong a bench, I think, in an attacking sense as they've had all season. Isak is available. He did a pretty good 20 minutes at the weekend. Ekatike's in there. Salah and Ungamoa is this wild card, as I say. There are options there. So in an attacking sense, there's a confidence that Wirtz is getting on it. So listen, they have to get that initial control in the game that they didn't have last week. Then they have to create the belief, and then who knows? Listen, and if it's going to happen anywhere, it'll happen in that stadium.
Enjoy the game, Gabriel. We'll see you later. Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
There's Gabriel Clark there on
3-0
duty
to PSG.
on duty for Amazon Prime. Don't ruin everybody's chips when they're on the way to the game.
Who knows?
That's the beauty of it,
That's why
isn't
we
it?
have to play the games.
Yeah,
You never know.
It's true. They're getting players back. They can have a lot of impact from the bench. There's some great little subplots.
It's that old thing, score first.
Yeah, get the crowd going.
Then it gives you a chance. And, but obviously as soon as they score, like they did against us after 6 minutes, then it was all over.
So there'll be regular updates. You're right across that and all the big games tonight. Around the Grounds with Adrian Durham, Charlie Adam, the former Liverpool player, of course, and Mickey Gray from 7 o'clock. Building up to that and a whole lot more besides, it's Andy Goldstein and Darren Bentwood Drive. They're coming up next.
I walked out of the stadium on Saturday, and I'm an old school, and I said to your researcher that I think this goes back a long way. It goes back to Arsene Wenger, the last 11 years. we're cowardly. We've got nobody in the midfield. We've got a lovely bunch of players that are all on their own lovely. No Patrick Vieira. Nobody just stamped their foot. No, Patrick Vieira would have been the ideal person on Saturday because he would have got in amongst them. Declan Rice, amazing player. Amazing player. You can't knock him. Zubamendi, great technical player. But every time we tackle somebody, they're picking them up. Are you okay? Are you all right? We need somebody, Simon will probably tell you this in business, you need somebody that can hardball, that can go in and say, that's not working. What are you boys doing? They were all popping Zubamendi out on the pitch on Saturday